Samoa, and welcome back to Doctor Who Season 2, Episode 7, where, as I teased to Caden, we have some earth-shadowing Doctor Who news that dropped several days ago. But I heard just before the stream on my phone waiting for Caden. Wait, Caden, you can't hear me, can you?
I can hear you.
The computer, no, hang on.
I cannot hear the computer.
Okay, so don't look at the screen, all right? Just
got it. I will
there's
try.
audio involved, and I realize you're not going to be able to hear it, okay?
Yep.
Don't look at the screen.
This is going to be very difficult, but I will
Just close
try.
your eyes or something. You good?
Yeah.
Or maybe just don't read the title because it'll spoil it. That's the main thing. Okay?
I got to click into this.
And
Okay, yeah, I'm here.
Bam. They've released the full Dugadoo song on YouTube. Earth shadowing.
My eyes. I'm feasting.
All 1 minute,
Wow.
41 seconds of Dugadoo. Some Dugadoo facts I've learned. Oh my gosh, I didn't know this part. I haven't seen this yet. So, something I learned. Composer Murray Gold apparently wrote this totally unprompted. It wasn't in the script. and they hadn't put it in. No one in production had asked for it. He just did this. We need a song for
that.
We need a song for the Eurovision episode. That was the prompt.
Yeah.
Yeah. So this is what we got now. And I just wanted us all.
Really
If Doctor Who does end, at least we got this. This is the new Dinosaurs on a Spaceship.
Than the Goblin song.
Repeat.
No, Dugadoo.
2.01 million subscribers. 189,000 views. Disgrace.
I love the description. You asked for this.
You asked for it? And there we go. The famous. Wow. Don't forget to subscribe. Well,
that is shattering.
That's no viewers dropped off whatsoever during Dugadoo. You know what? Can I have that as my ringtone? Not that like anyone calls me. I saw on Reddit someone said they just played that for like 3 hours in their office at work, and every time someone came in for like 5 minutes, they're like, "What the hell is this?"
It's Dugadoo.
It's Dugadoo. It was one of the best songs in the galaxy. Caden, how are you doing?
Yeah. Horrible.
I hope you
just
ended up.
Awful.
Oh wow. Well, I hope you ended up watching this episode of Doctor Who since last night.
I'd like to tell you something. I watched this episode twice.
So did I. Okay, so like today.
I've only done that. I watched it last night and then I watched it this morning, and I've only also done that with The Well.
Oh.
I'm not a two-watching guy. I've watched this episode twice.
All right, it's up to you. Do you want the history lesson first, or do you kind of want initial thoughts? Which one? How do you want this stream to start?
I want to know how you feel.
Oh man, I've never gone first. So this episode, I've also watched it twice, of course, yesterday and then just before the stream, where before the episode started, I've talked a lot, so Russell T Davies finale, no expectations. And I'm kind of thinking, it's part 1 of 2, right? So it's probably setup. This is kind of what I was going in for. Like, there's probably not going to be a lot. It's going to be mostly setup, and then we'll end leading in the finale. That's what I kind of prepped myself for. And then by the title sequence, I realized that this episode was going to be nothing but kind of vacuous setup until the end. And so I did kind of adjust myself, like, all right, it was when we did Russell T Davies' watched WandaVision, which I haven't done, to be clear.
Me neither.
But but I'm still like, this is WandaVision.
Yeah.
So maybe it's not. But this, I am sticky on this frame because I want to talk about it. But this, I kind of set myself up for setup. And in our ratings, our rating system, which I'll briefly bring up, we won't do the ratings yet. which neither of those happened. No Space Baby can, and it wasn't entirely set in the TARDIS.
It's true.
You know, we've got these set up like this. So we kind of talk about part 1 as it stands, you know.
Yep.
Just kind of part 2 could make it better, could make it worse, but it doesn't exist yet. And then after part 2, we're going to rank part 2 and then the whole thing. So I'm like, all right, let's kind of just, you know, whatever. It's set up. I can kind of get into that mindset. And so as just a standalone episode, ignoring the second half, I kind of feel like it's Lie of the Land just a bit worse. I've seen it, was kind of my vibes. I have just noticed the book is written by I Am Foreman, who previously owned a junkyard in the 60s. That wasn't what I wanted to talk about. I've only just spotted that. In fact, though I do kind of hope that the cover looks like this. But so a high end, right? I haven't been huge on this. Okay, I'll just say it. The cover is designed to look like the UK original Harry Potter covers, which is probably an intentional nice touch commentary on how Conrad wants to see the world and J.K. Rowling as an individual and author, which is very clever. But as what was I talking about? Oh yeah, so the general fandom, I haven't talked about this much, although I've kind of casually agreed. Here we go. This is the fans watching Doctor Who. Is that Russell T Davies, the show basically needs new blood. And the show hasn't really changed much since 2005. I don't agree entirely with that point. I think Moffat kind of changed enough. But when you look at the past 20 years of the show, we've gotten to the point where people are kind of questioning whether or not Doctor Who can change, and you see comments on the Reddit and stuff like, well, this is just how the show's always been. I'm like, this is Doctor Who. Look at Doctor Who in the 80s and the 60s, and then the 80s and the 2000s. Like, it's had 4 different shows since then. And I've never been huge on this. I think I talked last time, like, I think they're doing enough, for last time being last season. They're doing enough, some interesting stuff. I'm still by. I'd like something deeper, but, you know, this is still doing it for me. I still maintain that, but I also think that if you were to write an episode to try and back up that point, it would be this one. Because I think we have 5 Time Lords in next episode. I was talking with my wife how we can, for the first time, actually place bets on how many regenerations. It might be 0. It might be like 14. It might be 3. And, you know, we could have 4 regenerations and still have the 15th Doctor next episode.
Yeah.
Which, I don't know, it's like, you haven't seen it, so I am interested with you. I know my wife as well. This has come up a lot, where I'm like, I think it's like this other episode. It's like Midnight, which I think was better, but, you know, this was good. It's like this. And this was kind of like, it's like the Lie of the Land. I think that's the name. It's the last of the Monk trilogy from Capaldi. And I kind of feel like I've seen it before. You know, it's General Orwellian mixed with WandaVision has come out. The dystopia that has the, like, surface of... Heck, this is also Fine Time. The dystopia with the surface of, like, you know, pristine 1960s American value, whatever. As we look at a picture of Tower Bridge. Which was kind of Lie of the Land was just more Orwellian dystopia, like overt dystopia. But Lie of the Land also isn't very good. And it had a lot, like, Conrad's on this TV, even in the superficial ways. Conrad's like a mysterious, you know, big brother guy, I guess. I don't know the analogy, but right. In Lie of the Land, it's the Doctor, who we don't know why, but he's like the Conrad, and he seems to be like working for the people, who are the monks who are in charge. It's not monks how you think, but they're like skeleton people. Wait a minute, they're like skeleton people. Where are those big bone boys? No, so I'm like, I don't know. I kind of got the sense of like, I've seen this before, and I know we're just kind of doing the setup for next episode. So,
Okay.
I think it's
Yeah.
definitely going to get a pretty low rating because I can't rank the little developments because part 2 hasn't happened. It also can't suffer from like some of those things, but I'm like, I don't know. This was just lie of the land again, in my mind. So it was, but like I going in being, oh, this is gonna be why is the world a like WandaVision for 35 minutes, and I'll admit the end stuff was, I liked when things were developing, and I have praises about this episode. We'll talk about more, but I really like the design of the Bone Palace. For a Bone Palace, especially, it's very elegant, and it's a thing. It's a style of architecture I've never really seen with like Bone Palace before. I would almost like, okay, let's not say it's not bones. I would kind of dig it as like a TARDIS interior, even, which you should not really get for a Bone Palace, but it works.
Yeah, sets were really cool.
My biggest praise, just to go off the bat, I really like the idea of the sort of, we'll call it the rebel group, being that this sort of like Conrad-esque person metaphorically doesn't really see the disabled, the impoverished, the whatever, the unimportant people, they call them. And so they aren't caught up in like the wish, and so they can like get together and overthrow him. I really liked that idea. This was my favorite part of the episode. And this is the part where I'm like, okay, this is like new and good. And I might have to check. It might be the first time I think this new era, Davies' era, I think he wrote most of them. Might have been other people too. Tried to do social commentary, and I'm like, oh, that's interesting. I like that. As opposed to the more like, yeah, Conrad, well, actually is right in the last episode he was in, but those sort of people are wrong in every other situation. But I think I'm stealing the stage a little bit, because why is this only on while I'm at work, Baylor Writer? It's because the Pacific Standard Time Zone is really difficult to schedule live events for. Because to capture the English-speaking world, I'm sorry, Australia, you know why. You're just in a bad spot of the world. You're not, the only people who can catch Australia are Australia and like English people who stream at 3 a.m. But like, I gotta catch the East Coast, but I brush up against their dinner time, and then I'm brushing up against Europe's bedtime no matter what. It just really kind of sucks. And so I target the weekend. Sundays, actually, wait. It's Monday in Europe, isn't it? I haven't thought about that.
I have no idea.
It is. I do Star Trek on Saturdays exactly for that reason. I might rethink it, but Saturday's too early with Doctor Who coming out on a Saturday. But yes, that's why. I try my best, but, you know, you just can't get everyone. But yeah, Caden, your overall thoughts.
I've got a... You know,
sorry, the time zones reminded me. That was it. Don't forget the finale next week. Our stream will be the same time, noon Sunday, but the episode itself comes out a few hours later. I think it's noon Pacific Standard Time. It's the same time as the BBC One broadcast. I recommend trying to catch it first because not necessarily, I've done it before, but one of the possible reasons to make it a worldwide broadcast is because there's some sort of thing that they think will make the headlines and they don't want to spoil. So, I don't know. I'm going to try and hit it early. Go ahead, Caden.
Well, last night, of course, I was up late playing games with you and our other brother. And then I watched this episode, and I subsequently thus cried myself to sleep. Oh. And then I woke up this morning. And I pre-streamed deep breathing exercises, just really calming myself down. And I need to make sure I don't just explode.
I didn't realize the gaming session was that hard on you.
No, it was so amazing. The gaming session, that's what was so good. That's what you need to take into account. I was of the highest moods. Okay. This episode is single-handedly The
Okay.
worst episode of Doctor Who
Okay,
I have ever had the misfortune of being placed in front of my eyes.
I was kind of thinking we were going for a 10, and I was
I'm
going to
physically
pep in for a very interesting stream.
insulted by this episode.
I thought you cried
didn't
of
cry,
joy.
but I
Okay.
did literally lose sleep over this episode because of how
Now-
upset I was after watching it.
I think that's harsh. Even for
I
the
hate
episodes
this
you've
episode.
seen, I
I
think
hate
that's
this
harsh.
episode so much, and I throughout this
But-
stream will convince you that this is the worst. I hate this episode.
I think there's a lot wrong. I might hit on your points. I am surprised. Actually, I am gonna take a peek. What? I'm curious, by the way. What is your worst? You gave 6 to Robot.
Yeah, I want to check season 1 because I think I know what I'm going to give this
6
episode.
is your
Yeah, okay.
tied. I mean, yeah, there's these finales. I'd have to really think about that, and that's going to take time. But I'd agree, this is probably the worst of the 2 seasons, barring these 2. Maybe it's because I set myself in that mentality, but also, coming back around now, do you still have faith in Russell T Davies' ability to write a finale?
I hate Russell
Going
T. Davies.
in
I'm
with
never
him.
going to forgive him for this.
Wow. Well, it's a
He's
good
got one
thing we're...
episode. He's got an episode to turn everything around if he tries really hard and begs on his hands and knees, but for now, I am devastated.
2 weeks from now, when we get into the finale of season 3 of Doctor Who, Russell T Davies, I think regarded as the worst one.
I'm in
That's
pieces.
interesting. So, I'd like to start in going into that. I'm surprised, but I'm going to enjoy this stream because let's get the opportunity to let you voice your opinions. But I probably will kind of play a devil's advocate here, and I'm very interested. This is easily the most divided we've been. I don't think Rogue was this. You're going to make me give this episode like a 7.5 now, just by sheer comparison. Okay. We've got the big answers now. We're finally answering. They're on May 24th, right? This is the finale. Now, of course, they're not all answered, but some of our questions, we've got to the point where these are the explanations. We're getting some things, right? So, of course, big one, Caden. It's now episode 7, Doctor Who, season 2. The moment we've all been waiting up to. And I ask you now, why can't the Doctor get Belinda home? And the answer, of course, is...
Yeah.
What? I put it here somewhere. No, it's not in my Blu-ray for Doctor Who and the Savages because I don't have loose paper handy. I'll say, right? As I said, I watched this the second time. This was kind of it's a little harsh, but I would call it vacuous filler. Up until kind of the part we get to the Bone Palace, but this, and even then, that setup. This is Russell T Davies doing something he very much likes, that sort of WandaVision-esque thing, which of course isn't the only thing that's do it. Doctor Who has done it before. Human Nature, great example. That, especially for a part 1 of a finale, it's not gonna do it for me. That's just preference, and fine. If you love this episode, great. We just have different tastes. But on the second watch through, because there's not a lot for me to sink my teeth into, and knowing this, I actually decided to take notes. And so in front of me, I actually have a lot of questions because I've realized the plot. I won't say it doesn't make sense. There are definitely elements that don't, but I think this is definitely one where we go back and look, and we don't know. Because why can't the Doctor get Belinda home? Is, of course, I realized when I sat down and pulled out my phone, I'm like, hang on, so why? There was something blocking them for May the 24th, right? And I think the answer, maybe Russell T Davies is going to come out in an interview in 2 months, and everyone's going to be like, why didn't you write that in the episode? It'll be the whistle thing. You remember that?
Mm-hmm.
When
Yeah,
there's
I
a
do.
magic whistle that was like a cut scene. But... I don't know. Because, if it's the Vindicators, is it a bootstrap paradox? Moffat was big on those, but I think Moffat even said, hey, it's a bootstrap paradox in the dialogue. Including that one under the lake scene that literally starts with the Doctor explaining to the audience what a bootstrap paradox is. That's literally the scene. It's a... it's a fourth. He's talking to the audience about it, but I don't know. And that's very much his style's always kind of been. It doesn't really matter.
Yeah.
But as like an individual, that's his preference. But I feel like as a writer, that didn't really make it into his original scripts, except for his finale resolutions would definitely get that. But even then, like, season 1 finale is like a Deus Ex Machina, but he actually sets that up, with Margaret the Selene and the sort of Heart of the TARDIS stuff. And I think he's just writing more. He's not writing the things he personally doesn't care about, which is fine, but that's definitely rubbing a lot of fandom the right way and is affecting the people who do care about the plots, like me. And I think you, but not quite as strongly. Plot. Cohesiveness. Maybe next episode will make it more sense. Like, maybe we still don't know what happened to the TARDIS. Remember that cliffhanger blew up?
I've been upset about that, believe me.
I told you, I bet we're going to cut to past the resolution of that, and then we're going to get flashbacks to the explosion, which maybe we will. I didn't expect it to be an hour.
And I'm insulted that they didn't.
I also said there's the possibility it is never addressed again, which I think is what we're going for. But we haven't got that, right? That's unfair. You can complain that you probably should answer that in the first hour, but that could be explained. And this is why we rank the episode the way we do. But speaking of the exploding TARDIS, what probably should be explained is where did the Ronnie get the Vindicator? Come to think of it, didn't they fly back to the base with it? No, they got Bacon. That's right. I always confuse the two.
The
Vindicator was in the TARDIS that blew up. And there might be an explanation for that. I feel maybe a line. Like, there are lines. These things are explained. And I don't think we need these things explained,
Yeah.
That's all I'm asking for the sci-fi. Like, why, mention it. And maybe we'll get the Vindicator. But I want to bring it up because I'm probably going to forget next week. And it's probably not going to be explained. All right. I actually misunderstood this plot point. This one's answered. But actually, the answer was kind of weird. She got it during the midnight episode. No, she had a picture of it. They took the Vindicator with them. But also, if they did get it from the midnight episode, actually, I don't understand. Why do we need the Vindicator? Thought it was the webs around the... Okay, but anyway, I misunderstood this line. I think a lot of people do, so I want to bring it up. In the end, she says no god of wishes could have infinite power, because otherwise we'd be drowning in a universe of breast milk, right? And some people are probably down for that, but that's not the Ronnie's plan. And so she needed the Vindicator to send webs of energy to Earth and create this sort of magic web, whatever. I'm actually down for that. I really like that. That's a satisfying explanation. Well done. It makes pieces make sense. Very good. Again, though, if it was the Vindicator, why couldn't he get there? Yeah. Maybe it'll be explained, but yeah, a line. Now, my confusion, right, was I thought that she needed the web to control the baby's power, right? It was like that's how she's preventing the universe of breast milk. And so my question was, why is 1860s Bavaria perfectly fine? But I'm also just accepting the whole Seven Son thing as a superstition I don't know about. But, and like, why not use a modern newborn, whatever. But I realized that actually, no, that's saying that, like, the god of wishes can't have infinite power, or else we'd be in a universe of breast milk. Therefore, he doesn't. Which isn't a very sciencey explanation. It's like, well, okay, why not just have a universe of breast milk then? But, the Vindicator was like a web that amplified the god's power. And I think I've seen some people confuse, like, if they have infinite power, why do you need to amplify it? It does make sense. It's just you could interpret that first sentence in two different ways, and if you do it the wrong way, and you don't catch the explanation because, I don't know, there's a lot going on or something. So I wanted to address that, but that's not really a complaint, unless you want to complain about it.
I'd love to complain about it. I don't like the god. I
You
think
don't like
he's a
the god
powerless,
baby?
stupid baby. First of all, why are they in like 1860s Bavaria? Is there a reason why the god is born there? What's the...
So, I agree that it probably didn't have to be, and it might have even made more sense to be in the modern era. There's a lot of bootstraps to this whole thing. Like, it's in modern day UK because the Doctor is sending the beams to the modern day UK. And he's only doing that because he can't land on May the 24th. But presumably he can't land because the events are happening on the 24th. It's all very... The Ronnie's tracking stuff that... Like, I don't know. This... Not all of this is a complaint, but it is kind of unnecessary. Bavaria... Someone can correct me if I'm wrong. But Bavaria is often a setting of... think like Brothers Grimm... fairy tale-esque.
Yeah.
It's southern Europe, I believe southern Germany, bordering Italy, might bleed into France a bit, but my knowledge comes from Crusader Kings 3, where the borders aren't exactly modern. So I think it's just part of like fairy tale. The God of Wishes came because he's the seventh son of a seventh son with 7 sons, and there's some like magical thing. I can accept that combination is so rare that like this was kind of the only place you could get it. I actually thought, right, my prediction was going to be that Conrad was the 7th generation of that. I didn't do the math. I'm like, I bet 200 years later, Conrad could be the 7th son for like 7 generations. I'm thinking of the Black Forest. I mean, generally, Bavaria, Germany, 1800s, like, it's fairy tale-esque. He might have picked this up from Chris Chibnall, who was very frequently had like episodes to the point where it was mocked, be like location, year. Maybe Davies like that. It could also be that. And to be fair, people have been praising that Doctor Who is becoming more global. I mean, Bavaria isn't exactly exotic for Doctor Who, but like, I mean, she's like Little Red Riding Hood. Come on, it's got to be the fairy tale thing.
I also think that the most powerful god, the God of Wishes, seems to be just a powerless infant baby who can't do anything for himself.
I mean,
except
so
he
was
can't even wipe his own
everyone
butt.
at some point. He doesn't have to wipe his butt. He just has to sit there and be, man,
all the other
I wish
gods
I didn't have poop on my butt, and then
came
bam.
down to earth, all powerful. But this guy pulled like a Jesus and was like, I'm just gonna make myself a baby.
Was Lux?
And I can't do anything.
Was Lux really that powerful? He was stuck in a room, and then when he got outside, he just left. I love Lux. Don't get me wrong.
I think if they made the god the big bad guy, he would have been completely terrifying. But because he's not, he's minuscule compared to the Ronnie.
I don't know. I'm fine with the baby being like a MacGuffin. Maybe they wanted to be a baby. You ever get like life's just kind of hard, and you're like, man, I wish I was a baby. And then, bam, they're a baby. Maybe, I know. I'm fine with that, but for me, it's an interesting point, because for me, I see like, well, yeah, Omega's the focus, but Omega's just like a letter to you, you know? So maybe that's it. But I can see where you're coming from.
I think...
Go on.
My main overarching gripe that's going to be with this whole episode is that it is an impressively, and when I say impressive, I mean impressively polished turd, in my opinion. It is, all of the sets are some of the coolest I've seen. I love how this episode looks.
Love Legend of the Sea Devils.
I think it's amazing. And I think it's like doing everything to be flashy and be like, look at me. And there's massive like bone dinosaurs and the cool like bone thing in the middle of the city, and the atmosphere in the unit building that they shaped up. So cool.
I love United Nations insurance team or whatever. That made me laugh.
The writing is so poor, it is insulting to me. I think it embodies And at the end, I even got upset when she was like, "This is an exposition, Doctor." I almost slapped my computer.
That one got me too. We had the line with Ruth where it's like, in one day that story might be told. She even changes tone. I'm like,
It's and the fact that throughout the entire episode, like while things that we don't understand are happening, Conrad is literally in the background over megaphone speakers throughout the episode explaining what the Doctor is. And then we'll get to the ending sequence, but I also have my gripes with the ending sequence.
Screw you.
I think everything looks amazing, but the writing is elementary.
Let's talk about that, actually, because I'd like to draw interesting parallels. Is we are almost done with season 3 of Modern Who. You know now it's the Master. So that's the Martha and Tennant. That's Harold Saxon, if you need a refresher. It struck me, and I think I've brought this up without explicitly telling you for ages, because I didn't want to spoil the whole Master thing. Season 2 is crafted pretty much entirely for the reveal of the Master. I mentioned the Doctor kind of suddenly, and knowing it, this is rather abrupt. He suddenly starts talking about the Time Lords a lot, but not in the sense of I'm the last one. We actually get the first description of Gallifrey since like the 70s or something. The whole human nature, family of blood, fob watch thing is beautiful setup. There's a lot that I'm not going to remember little details, but it's amazing how almost every single episode builds to that reveal with the Master and the fob watch. And having no idea what who the Master was, at the time, because that was Modern Who was my first. It's still an amazing reveal. This one, we've actually been talking, funny enough, since season 1, I think, that we've been setting up for a Susan reveal, it feels like. So it's not like we didn't notice any of this. I don't really mind the Doctor Who as a story for kind of that WandaVision-esque stuff is wrong vibe. It makes sense plot-wise because they want to get the Doctor to doubt and like explicitly telling the Doctor kind of what's going on. I don't think it's the worst way to introduce some of these concepts. I think it could have been better. But it is worth pointing out that this is the solution they went with. That is very contained within the single episode rather than the whole season.
I think,
which might have been slightly rushed. Citation needed. I know there was a pretty quick turnaround for the 60th specials, and then of course Church. But for season 2, we have a while. We do just have to get the filming done pretty quick, so maybe that's part of it.
I think for me, I have two thoughts. Is that it feels pretty cheap, a lot of the like exposition that they give throughout this. And also, a big note that I was thinking as I watched this is that this is the solution they went with, and this is the episode that they wrote. Mm-hmm. And in the back of my mind, I was like, writers, maybe, possibly, sat around and brainstormed around a table. And they probably had multiple ideas of, what episode are we going to write? And they actively chose to write this episode.
I'd like to interject.
That makes me so upset.
It's possible Russell T Davies has maintained some of this, but UK television is structured slightly different to American television generally. And most of my knowledge is Doctor Who. But until the Chibnall era, Doctor Who actually was not a writer's room. It was, here's your script. Maybe the showrunner give you some prompts. Like for the gas mask one. He's like, Davies told Moffat, like, I want something in the Blitz. You have to introduce Captain Jack, who I think was a big collaboration between Davies and Moffat. And like, there's your episode, go write it. Yeah. And of course, there's like oversight. It's not like one guy. But generally, I think they submit a draft. The showrunner / script editor will go over it, maybe make changes, but it's not so collaborative. Chibnall was. And that's probably part of the reason where Doctor Who, like a lot of episodic shows, you have the greatest episode ever followed by the worst episode ever. That's, you never know. But with Chibnall, you had a very consistent quality level. We very rarely kind of deviated, and the highs and lows were not nearly as far. And I believe Russell T Davies has gone back to more normal, especially for season 1, though, because he wrote, like, the whole thing. So yeah, there were still people who went like, yeah, it's not like he's a dictator, but
Yeah.
I want to point that one out. I mean, here you go. Here's your executive producers: Russell T Davies, Julie Garner, and Jane Trainor. I guess there's the people you could throw knives at if you want. Man, you did. I think maybe I'm still glad that it's. I look back at 13th Doctor. I'm like, you know what? Could be worse. I think maybe that's what our perspectives are. I now wonder if we're gonna get to the end of 13th Doctor. But you're fair in your criticisms. It's just interesting. For the first time, things are bothering you more than they're bothering me.
Yeah, it is. I'm ripping my hair out.
Yeah, interesting. But no, I thought it was a fine solution. This form, I'll give it fine. Because it is worked into the plot. There's a plot reason for it, but it is still. This is the second season in a row we've been watching exposition on television, I guess. It is. Yeah. It's not literally Pyramids of Mars.
This episode functions and is able to continue off of tell, don't show. It's like, don't show these guys anything. We're going to tell them what's happening, and we're going to walk them through this, and they're going to hold on to our little hands, so they're going to be safe and sound in our little perfect story. And as I watched the episode the second time, it's like everything made more sense, although it was only because I had seen the episode once before.
First, I'm going to finish my thought. I believe this is geo-locked. I think it might just be available in America. Might be other countries worth checking. Pyramids of Mars was actually just uploaded to the Classic Who Doctor Who YouTube channel, which also did Shada. They seem to be releasing more episodes for free. So if you want the original Sutek episode, which is widely regarded by idiots as one of the greatest episodes of Doctor Who there are. I'm sorry, I don't even know if I finished it yet. I've said my piece on Pyramids of Mars, but a lot of people love it. It is fair. I am very much a weirdo in that regard. Look at that. This is Ruby shocked. Boop. There we go. That's as a Pyramid of Mars fan. Caden can't see it, but I put the I was wrong sticky note on Ruby's head. That is always prepped. You say it's show, don't tell. I think there's elements. We literally have a character say this is not just exposition and then explain why it's not exposition. But this is still like WandaVision. And I think we're blinded by some like knowing where this is kind of going because of the structure of the episode. But take this scene, right? We learn without being told that Ruby's not affected by any of the weirdness. The Doctor and Belinda clearly are. This is kind of our first sign that this is a dystopia. We get like the secret police of someone expressing doubts. We're kind of slowly introduced to the slips caused by doubts thing. I think it's unfair to say this is entirely show, don't tell, but I think a lot of the show is in the atmosphere. That
I'd agree with that.
We probably both were like, oh, nothing's going to happen because we're going to spend an episode in this and then get to set up for the finale. I think we personally just didn't care as much, which I think is important to show. Is that are you with me now that you don't understand how you can enjoy what Russell T Davies writes generally as much as you do? Because you just disagree with him so much.
Yeah. And I think that point to me is why this is a really well-polished turd, because like everything around the actual story is like really nice, I think.
Oh, and the costume, wardrobe, everyone's been knocking it out of the park since like
but then even like
season
the
12.
world building. The world building in that subtle way of, the secret police and the dystopia is like, that's pretty good. And then it's like, now tell me a story within this world. And they're like,
when they got to the point where Shelley pulled out an iPad or something, right? And everyone was confused because they didn't know what an iPad was. I wasn't surprised because I had noticed at this point that we were still very much in like a vaguely 60s level of technology. We had a bit more. Obviously, London is modern. But like societally, we hadn't moved past the 50s, 60s, whenever it is, 20s, 40s, 30s, who knows. And that was a good show don't tell. As I noticed, it was vintage. And it was for me, it's, the like stereotypical stay-at-home 1950s housewife because I'm American. I'm sure something similar existed in the UK. Although while we're on it, it did bother me that these are the same droids from Interstellar Song Contest.
Agreed.
That's a nitpick, but still. They also remind me, I feel like they should be on, like, supporting cast for Daft Punk, I swear I've seen these guys on a dance floor. Are these helmets reused? Like, please, even on Interstellar Song Contest, I don't think I said it, but I swear they have, like, rainbowy lights that...
There was an older version of the Daft Punk helmet that did have rainbow LEDs and the black and gold color scheme.
Helmet early. What was Daft Punk's first performance with their helmets? Okay, I don't really like Daft. Yeah, it is. It is. That's it. That's it. That's what I'm thinking of. This is what's coming out for me. Yeah, see, it's more divided, but it's very much. If I know what that is. Then, like, surely, I'm an old man. Oh God, I forgot about this song sequence. I'm still actually on. Oh no, we were gonna talk about something about Rogue. This is a great meme template, by the way. Well, I just wanted to point out this one bothered me too. Is of course I did not like Rogue. It is to date my worst rated episode of this new season. That might change today. But thing is, I hated Rogue. This one was just kind of meh. At least Rogue made me feel something, you could say. How does Rogue know what's going on in the worst hell dimension I've ever seen? By worst, I mean, like, quality-wise. If I went to hell and this is what I saw, I'd be disappointed. I'd be like, what? I want to talk to the manager, the devil. And, like, what is this? I did a lot of bad, and I expect to be punished severely for it. No, okay, we're talking about the effects. It looked kind of cheap, I'll say. This was just... meh. But, and I also... Was it the Doctor's fault that Rogue's in the Hell Dimension? Because I kind of feel it was a collaborative effort. But it's been a while.
Yeah, I don't entirely remember. I'm mostly hung up on why is Rogue here?
How does he know? He's in another dimension.
Yeah, not only like know and be able to contact and all of it.
Have a lot of resources. Also, he looks immaculate. I've just realized.
He takes good care of his skin in hell.
Like, how does he know? Like, how does he know?
I did like the tables don't do that scene, though. That was one of the few. I was like, yeah, tables don't do that.
Yeah, it was good. I mean, I'd kind of, I guess,
I didn't like how it ended, but I liked the
It was a good effect. I guess it was predictable, is the thing.
Yeah.
I wonder how much of a surprise Russell T Davies expects this scene to be. I guess. Like, was this supposed to be an aha? I didn't think they were following through. I thought they were kind of like, I thought maybe Poppy was like psychic the first time.
Something was happening. And I was like, oh, nice.
Good. Let's go. Wow. Ouch. I mean, there's a lot of great things. I love this chicken. I love that everyone's got the same yellow mug, but not the people in the camp, to the point that it becomes weird seeing Ruby with a blue one. This looks like a lesbian flag's gone to prison, which I guess checks out. But yeah, I'd say as well, the Doctor, Belinda, basically everyone was like a fantastic as an actor in this. Belinda as well really shined.
I didn't care for the
I don't know if you really watched or like paid attention, but especially on the second watch through, I don't remember her name. But Belinda's actress is really had a good few episodes where they've shined as an actor.
Yeah.
I wouldn't be surprised if they become a bit like Carrie Gellin, who played Amy. Well, I hope that's how you say her last name. Who's like went on to be Nebula, and is now like a big Hollywood name. That would not surprise me.
Yeah.
I'm still on my list of questions though. So another big one, because some of these questions I don't mind, especially in an episode like this. But this feels like similar. Why couldn't the Doctor get Belinda home? How I called it free. Why is Ruby free? Okay, because I think there's an obvious answer, but why is Ruby free, Caden? Why isn't Ruby affected?
Best guess? Plot.
Plot. Okay, so I think there is a reason, actually, right? Is that comes up a few times. Because of her travels with the doctor, and we kind of saw like 73 yards. Actually, no, what? To be fair, I think 73 yards is we are given 73 yards as an answer.
That's true.
I don't like it. I am gonna retract my complaint, but I don't like it. I don't love it because she's not supposed to remember 73 yards. But I can accept there's enough weirdness with time. There's elements. Come to think of it, though, there isn't actually any weirdness with time, but that's another one of my bullet points. I thought it might be the travel with the doctor, because it's just established. When you travel in time, you see the universe differently. That's why the characters aren't affected when, like, their past changes. But in my follow-up was, why isn't Mel affected? But, you know what? 73 yards, I'll accept that. Alex says Ruby's free because Conrad sees her as lesser. That was one of the reasons that bothered me, though, is Conrad... It wasn't that they were lesser, is that Conrad just... It's the perception bias that the one guy used. He doesn't see the lesser people, so to say, in his mind. So that when he envisions his perfect society, they literally don't come to mind. But, like, Ruby probably does. You know, that was the thing that bothered me. Ruby probably does. Although I was surprised by some things. It's hardly a plot hole, but, like, there's foster children in this world. There's black people in, like... the doctor doesn't seem to experience racism. I did find it uninteresting, and I kind of wish we delved into Conrad's world, because if you were to ask basically anyone on the left to describe what would a Donald Trump supporter see as the ideal world, there's a lot here that I think would really confuse a lot of people.
Dinosaurs.
And I think it'd be interesting to explore someone like that who has a lot of these very disgusting, horrible views. Someone who's a perfect world is homophobic but not racist. I think a lot of people would just literally not comprehend. And I think it could be interesting to have an episode with that kind of dystopia where there's no garbage in this world other than the slips, apparently. That's nice. That's a cool world. Well done.
Yeah, I get behind that.
Not worth it, you know? But I think that'd be interesting. And again, it actually does let cringe the idea that Conrad genuinely believed everything he was saying in what was it? His other episode.
Lucky Day?
Yeah, thank you. Like, he's not insane. He's not doing it for power. This is literally his perfect world. He's, like, desperately trying to hold it all together as well. This is his version. This is what he thinks the perfect world is. And it also has other nations. I noticed that, too. Yeah. I just think it'd be interesting. I'm not going to deduct points for not exploring that.
Yeah.
But, all right. You seem to like these. I wonder if I can get a good photo of him.
Which?
But what are the big bone boys? What's up with that?
I actually don't like the big bone boys.
You don't like the big bone boys. There's a go. Big bone
boys. Because
I like the image.
What is up? Like it looks cool and like they're sick. But it's like what now?
So, I had a thought I'll get to about the bones that occurred to me watch through. The big bone boys specifically I don't like. I think I could maybe get behind the Bone Palace. But for the big bone boys, I've seen some people suggest that they're essentially there to be absurd and to generate some doubt, which I'd like the line. When the Ronnie's listing all the things that cause doubt... Like the scene where she's expositioning with one line all the random things, I would have liked her to say the big bone boys. Like, you know, just miss them as a thing that causes doubt. This scene exists. We don't need to know what the people scanning for doubt are. I know what the people scanning for doubt are. I gathered that. I mean, so I learned recently there's a saying in writing that you should explain all the important things 3 times, right? once for the real clever people, once for the average, and once for the idiot in the back on their phone, right? I think this came up with Prodigy. I came across it, the Star Trek children's show, which is fantastically written. And so maybe the so-and-sos from the planet whatever, he finally did a sci-fi hand wave for something, and it's the least important thing. I do find that funny. But, why... Maybe that's for the idiot who wasn't paying attention on their phones, which is the harsh... That's what the quote says, Mm. But yeah, so the bone aesthetic, though, do you think it's because the Ronnie's a biologist? I wonder if that's the tie. The Ronnie's... this is a classic thing. I don't think we've established it. In fact, we'll get it all into the Ronnie later. But I think it's because the Ronnie is a biologist. So, someone went... Well, she's the biologist, so would she, grow the palace? Then someone thought bone palace, and I mean, look at it. I can kind of understand this one. I don't know, though. It's...
I mean,
maybe. I'd be fine with it if it was a line. It looks so good. Is the bone palace I could just let slide. Sometimes it just looks good, is the answer. But I think it's because she's a biologist.
I'm getting so many different pieces of different media from this episode throughout. Obviously, WandaVision is the main Doctor Who lives in. The inside of the Bone Palace, immediately I felt Scorn was a game that came out eons ago. Recently actually got really popular recently. I don't know if you know that game, but if you like the Bone Palace, let me tell you, pal, you'd like Scorn.
I like the art. Have I seen this on Steam?
And so, it fully came out, recently. And then on the outside, on the shot we were just looking at, it's so Half-Life 2 with the main area where all the leaders live in and the massive striders who are just these bone people walking around. I feel like Davies just was I like Half-Life. And
so someone, this isn't not necessarily a criticism. And someone's pointed out, having been too young to really notice myself, that Doctor Who's kind of always followed trends by being about a decade late. 2005 arguably started some trends, but even that was hey, Buffy the Vampire Slayer is popular. Let's make our own. Literally, that was it. But Davies really has kind of been following things that were popular 7 years ago. I don't actually want to look up when The Last Jedi came out, but last season was literally a reaction to the Rey Skywalker's parents are nobody, which Russell T Davies liked, and then whatever movie was next kind of retconned that, and he didn't like it, and he wanted to kind of do that twist right. These are in the interviews, the commentary. That's just straight from the horse's mouth. People don't seem to think he succeeded or understood the whole Rey thing, but it kind of feels like he's the stuff he liked kind of when Moffat left, and now he's putting that into his work, which makes sense. I mean, if it was a better episode, whatever. Dot and Bubble is, I guess, kind of like WandaVision in a similar sense. Not nearly as explicitly, but...
it's not necessarily a gripe, but I can feel it bleeding through.
It is a gripe when I feel like the episode's whole thing is I haven't even seen WandaVision and I know where this... I mean, they did it.
That's true.
It's them. I understand this. And again, I've seen this episode of Doctor Who, I want to say not even that long ago. Doctor Who, those of you of an older disposition may want to plug your ears. 2017, Lie of the Land. So an 8-year-old episode. We could get into a discussion of can Doctor Who retread his ground like this, but I'm not really in the mood. I don't think it should have to. I think you can have both worlds, but whatever.
Yeah.
Also, that was 12th Doctor, though, so who was watching? Let's be honest. All right, last one. I've been stepping around this for a while. The dialogue seems to suggest we've been doing this for a while, right? The Doctor worked late last night. Miss Flood, who is not affected by any of the weird stuff, says they're getting 9s at this time of day. They know the doctor does his thinking at sunset, right?
Yeah.
I even said before, Ruby is... Maybe she's not affected because of her time stuff. This rebellion seems to have been going on for a while, right?
Mm-hmm.
Didn't this kick off today? It's the day... No, wait, hang on. The world ended on May the 24th, and Belinda says that's the day I left. So is this yesterday from the robot revolution? Because this is before the 24th. Hang on.
I mean, can they write
Doctor
over it?
Who, well, yes, but, like, that opens a whole nother can of worms. Like, why is it the past? Because we took Conrad, but when did that episode take place? Was that the 23rd? So didn't this all kick off on the 23rd? At the very least, it was not a long time ago. But also, like, obviously... Well, is it obvious? Like, Belinda has a kid. So, like, obviously it's been a while, but the whole point is that she doesn't have a kid. Okay, main setting 2025. Can we be a bit more specific than that, TARDIS Wiki? It wouldn't be until the Interstellar Song Contest the Doctor and Belinda would learn the destruction of Earth on the 24th by an unknown source. They didn't know? They knew Earth didn't exist well before that.
Yeah. Well, they knew. I don't think they knew Earth didn't exist, or they didn't know it was destroyed. They didn't know it was destroyed. Yeah, but they were like, these people don't know about Earth. What's up with that?
Yeah. I think those are my notes, but I feel like I'm missing one. So I had a lot of, especially on that second watch through, I'm like, the mystery is only satisfying if at the end it works.
Yeah.
Really. Or you can do what Stephen Moffat does and stretch the mystery over 3 seasons. And then at that point, people just think they don't remember it. Burn. Oh no, Mel's going to throw up. Mel's she's getting a lot of work with the final episodes of the season. Oh, also a detail I want to point out, because I just saw the wheelchair. Well, I remember it. So Shelley makes a point that she has like a top-of-the-line wheelchair. So this is a wheelchair from we'll call it the real world, right?
Yeah.
So I'd like to remind you all just how heavily armed this wheelchair is. It's got like bazookas in it. She's like a military machine right there. Literally, like it's unit. So I just want us all to remember. I'm willing to bet she doesn't know, which is fine. I almost feel like I can see a button for like a big red button to launch the missiles, but it's probably just a part of the wheelchair. But I wonder if that's going to come up. Like, I wonder if she can genuinely just fly up there.
Yeah.
But I just wanted to point that out because it's important to me that we know.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, is it time we get into the history lesson? Do you even know what the history lesson is? I assume so.
Possibly. I mean, I have a good thought I can share. A real praise for this episode. It's not even a praise for an episode. It's a praise for myself. You need to. Can we go to where the Doctor was gay for the first time?
Yes.
Where he called him a beautiful man,
yeah,
and that was a big no-no. Homosexuality not cool in this world.
Entertainment, media, Doctor Who, modern series 1, Rose. All right. What do you want?
Let's skip.
Go.
We can
that one.
Oh, that arm is a man's arm.
Yeah,
not appropriate.
Yeah, there you go.
Not appropriate.
Okay. Yeah, when he was, I don't know where it was unit, but
yes.
Go on. Poppy is angry. Here we go. Same thing. That scene.
We need to get the other man in. We need to get the other man in there.
Hi, Susan. Is he not a beautiful man? Is that what are we?
No, he is a beautiful man. Here it is. This is perfect.
They actually showed.
Would like to make note, dearest viewers, and to you, that I very specifically made a deep note when we were watching Lucky Day that I felt a romance.
Yeah, a romance
beginning here, and I would like
it's
to
finally
say,
there.
Snipe of the year. I called this. I'm the
Well,
ship
okay,
maker. I am the
you
romance
weren't
man.
the first. I think this was in the 60th, and I was baffled by it then. But it's in the show now. I'll give you. Well done.
Yeah, and I
I'd
thank
like
you.
to point out I didn't
All the
catch
applause is
the
appreciated.
any hint of the Picard Dr. Crusher romance until the season episode 7 episode where it's like explicitly the one where they go to like the prison. Alex is in the chat. I don't want to talk too much, but that's how I am with this sort of thing. I also want to point out that in Conrad's ideal world, Kate actually has like a job as the head of unit. Maybe that's like he finds it
Maybe
funny
you think
thing.
it's ironic. Yeah.
I mean, there is the line about how it's unnatural, but I did think that was interesting. You know, I kind of would have liked to explore this concept in more. I don't even know what you'd have. I mean, you could just have a scene where like the companion gets confused about how like, yeah, don't get me wrong, this is a dystopia, but sort of like a scene where you realize that Hitler was a vegan, you know, and you have to kind of go, what? That doesn't make sense, and kind of process that. I don't know. I'd like that.
I do sort of have one.
Alex says that lovingly as their spouse. Oh, he sees the Doctor and Belinda as people, but Ruby was never a person to me. Ruby, there was like, look, Ruby, I liked Ruby, but like she was just the most generically perfect companion there was. I like Ruby more than most people, but Ruby's not interesting, really.
And then I sort of have one just.
Yeah.
Oh, go on.
People have turned on Belinda, I think, too. I'm seeing now. Of course, we're generalizing the collective thoughts of like a fandom on Reddit, where you get every opinion. But remember, I was baffled in Robot Revolution how people thought Belinda was so good, because in that episode she's not.
Yeah.
And she's done great. After every other episode, she's been good. But oh, sorry. Yeah, that was your last comment. I don't know what you say lovingly as my spouse, because I think you missed a comment. Yeah, Belinda, people are again saying like she's had nothing this whole season. There are theories that Ruby was fired. These are old theories, but Belinda's like a replacement because Ruby has as well. Like 73 Yards has been a big part, and she was core to the Conrad and this episode. I don't believe that theory. I'm in fact kind of surprised that people think Belinda's had nothing to do. Nathan wouldn't know romance if it hit him upside the head. There we go. That was your missing comment. Yeah, they seem to have got really turned on this season. I don't have a pulse on the fandom. Well, we might just be divided. Because generally I think the fandom does have a consensus. You know, sometimes it doesn't, but definitely the consensus among the fandom are 8 episodes is hurting the show. I don't think I've seen anyone who's gone, this is a good idea. And in fact, let's talk about those 8 episodes are actually 7 stories. Because both times the part 1 of the finale has been kind of just set up, you know?
Yeah.
And people complain there's like 2 Dr. Lights a season. That 15's not quite really done, doesn't have a deeper character, and that the episodes are too short and there's not enough of him. Which, of course, it's easy to say make more longer episodes when you don't have to do the money. That's not even Davy's fault, you know? Probably. I doubt he's out there requesting 8 episodes. But that's just a fact, is that that's hurting the show. Basically, everyone thinks we need new blood. People who aren't part of the group of fans who have been writing genuinely the entirety of Doctor Who and its EU since like 1999, and I'm not even joking. It's you can look into it a lot. It's like they're all friends: Nick Briggs, Mark Gatiss, Chibnall, Davies, Moffat, any of the big recurring names. But otherwise, like, I don't even know if the fandom, this was much better than the first season, but now people seem to be turning. I don't know. I have lost my pulse on the fandom, but I'm also avoiding r/Gallifrey because they don't have a good spoiler policy. And I'm being very cautious on r/Doctor Who.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's very interesting. I don't know. But I do not agree that we need a hiatus. That's one that comes up a lot by people A lot of people who don't understand that a hiatus won't actually gain us anything will destroy a lot of the stuff that's around, and also don't know that literally every pitch for rebooting Doctor Who during the last hiatus, except the 2 we got, were god-awful abominations that would have killed the franchise. Look into them at some point, again. And heck, people don't even like Dimensions in Time, or whatever that other one is. I don't know. I can't remember. Oh, Shulk. No, that's a different one. Scream of the Shulka. Maybe that's what I was thinking of. But yeah.
I think I definitely have more scattered thoughts, but I'm interested on this history lesson. I think we can get to it.
I forgot about... let me get the frame up. It's going to be real late. See, he doesn't actually appear in this episode. That's going to be good enough. Joshua Abraham Norton was a resident of San Francisco, California, who, in 1859, declared himself Emperor of the United States in a proclamation that he signed, Norton I, Emperor of the United States, commonly known as Emperor Norton. He took the secondary title, Protector of Mexico, in 1866.
Got it.
All right,
written down. Thank you. That was a good history lesson. Now we can
really
continue.
Worth looking into. Emperor Norton I of the United States of America, Protectorate of Mexico, because he's kind of insane, but also like he's actually now maybe there's a lot of things about Emperor Norton I haven't missed, but he also generally seems to be like wanting a lot of good stuff. Like maybe we shouldn't invade Mexico, guys. That seems pretty bad, you know. He was loads of people attended his funeral. Real interesting figure, would recommend. Omega. I'm going to put the thumbnail on screen while we talk about Omega, because Alex, this is the point where you might want to pop out. Funny enough, my wife and I, as I've mentioned before, are going through classic Doctor Who. And we're almost done with season 9. We've got 2 more stories for season 9. And then we're on to season 10. And the first episode of season 10 is the episode in which Omega is introduced, and one of the 2 episodes that he actually is in. Do you need to pop out? We're talking about Omega, and you said you didn't want to learn about Omega. So I'm like, let's just skip ahead to the Omega episode, then go back. Because, like, what fantastic timing for once. We almost did it. So if you don't want to know about Omega for some reason, it's a great episode that's title I will not say, because my wife's in the chat, and it's kind of spoilers. Oh, yeah, you can pop back if you don't want to know about Omega when the thumbnail comes off screen. You can, like, mute it or whatever. But we might be talking about Omega for a while. So, way back in the day, we're just going to ignore the Chibnall stuff, which doesn't really contradict it, but it's just going to be far too complicated. Way back in the day, like, early days of the universe, if you want to go like to the EU before linear time, but let's try and keep this concise. There were 2 or 3, the Time Lords were originally Gallifreyan. Yeah, see you in an hour. Good job. The Time Lords were just normal dudes. They were some other species on Gallifrey, the Gallifreyans. One of, if not the oldest species in the universe. And there were 2 or 3 real important Time Lords. The third one is not important. We'll call him the other one, and then some people in the back can give a good chuckle. But you've got Rassilon, who we got name dropped. I don't know if you've even encountered Rassilon yet. I don't know if you remember him, because he's just been name checked. But the shorthand would kind of be Time Lord Jesus. It'd be wrong to call him a religious figure. But kind of similar to King Arthur, he has been mythologized, He was the first president of Gallifrey. He kind of made the Time Lords what they are. Like, power, godlike powerful, extremely corrupt, yet also still with some fundamental respect for, like, the integrity of time in the universe. Like, for all their corruption, the Time Lords don't invest in stocks because they went to the future and know what they're going to be, or there is, they do keep the universe together. It could be worse is the phrase that comes to mind. And in fact, with Rassilon, it was a lot worse. You might hear the Dark Times have been mentioned every now and then. The Age of Rassilon, where the Time Lords weren't, casual observers who look, don't touch, They were fighting wars with vampires. They were vanquishing the, great leviathans of evil, the old universe. They were expelling the dangerous matter, making the universe stable. They were doing insane stuff. And the Time Lords, even, nowadays Time Lords, have got vaults full of the stuff from the days of Rassilon that they're absolutely terrified of, because not even they understand what it does, but they just know that they're horrifically powerful and must be kept secure at all costs. He's the big dude, big scary man, if you want to shorten it. Omega was sort of the other founding father of Gallifrey. Again, we're not going to care about the other guy. But Tish. Omega was a stellar engineer. He was an engineer who did stars. And what Omega did is he invented the Hand of Omega. Very different from the Hand of Sutekh. Look it up if you don't know. And what he did was he invented a way to kind of capture a star at the moment of supernova becoming a black hole. And this became the Eye of Harmony. Yeah, I know, it's ancient Time Lord stuff. And this Eye of Harmony is basically infinite free power. And it's what powers Time Lord society. It is literally what made the Time Lords the Time Lords. Every TARDIS is hooked up remotely to the Eye of Harmony. Look, I'm trying to be as brief as possible. I know, fans. And it's the source of the Time Lord's power. Just infinite power. It's why they are what they can do. And they're the only species so far who's ever had one. But in doing so, in creating the Eye of Harmony, I do love the Time Lords' names for things. I do. They're pompous a-holes, but there's that grandioseness. Mm-hmm. In creating the Eye of Harmony, Omega basically became trapped in some antimatter universe. People thought he was dead until season 10 of the hit television show Doctor Who. I'm sorry, series 10, where the events of that story happened. The Doctor, and the Doctor met Omega. They beat him with sticks. No, and he's basically still there. There's a 5th Doctor episode with Omega. He's still there. He doesn't want to be there. It's real lonely. It's real boring. He wants to be with the Time Lords. And so that is the story of Omega. I've turned the
He doesn't sound
off,
evil.
By the way. No, but thumbnail back on. He can't come to our universe because he's kind of become antimatter or something. He kind of doesn't exist. He just sustains himself with the thought of him. It's been a while since I've seen the 3 Doctors, but he's not really evil any more than the old Time Lords were just kind of not great. I guess you could really consider the Time Lords like a lot of the gods we've faced, just exceptionally powerful. I mean, he probably understands all those terrifying relics of Rassilon. I think the moment that is what the Doctor used to kill all the Time Lords in the Time War was something from the Rassilon Dark Ages. I think. Citation needed. But, I mean, he also is, I think, just super power hungry and, stuff like that. He's not a good guy you'd want around.
Okay.
But it's interesting because I think the Ronnie is just trying to bring back the Time Lords, Get one of the original Time Lords. They called him the first, which I don't think is technically true. It might be honorifically. But honestly, when you get into these ages, like ancient Gallifrey, you can get a lot of different EU and primary material coming to shout at each other about looms and, all that junk. It's, but yeah, if you want the short version, the first Time Lord is probably good enough. That's why this episode's so poorly written for you, is that Russell T Davies just had, that meme of the guy with the cork board? And he's like, oh, it's the looms and the Hand of Omega, which also, what happened to the Hand of Omega? Did it blow? I don't actually know. It blew
Well,
up
these guys have
Scarro. But, like, don't worry, Scarro got better.
Duke
And then
has
it
a
blew up
hand.
again, but it got
Omega has
better.
a hand.
Everyone's got a hand. Yeah,
I want a
remember when
hand.
David Tennant has 2 hands? Well,
I do.
he
3.
does. Yeah, that's what I meant. Thank you. I'm glad you... Remember when David Tennant has 2 hands, guys? Back in my day, he had 3 hands. All right. That's Omega. Any thoughts? If I just overwhelmed you with, like, you've just realized how deep Doctor Who goes.
I mean, Omega, he's an OG.
OG, yeah, that's it. And he's got a fantastic voice in the originals.
Ooh, okay.
Or at least the 5th. I don't know if it's the same guy both. I think it might be the same guy who does... actually, it might be Gabriel Wolf. Who did Sutek. Doctor Who Mega voice actor. Stefan Throne. I don't know. He reminds me of the guy who does the Dungeon Keeper narratives, if you know that voice. He got a great evil voice. I don't know how we talk about him, Eric. I think the plan is to bring the Time Lords back. I don't know if Russell T Davies is actually going to do that, but I think that's Ronnie's plan, is get Omega, remake the Time Lords, probably turn Earth into the Time Lords somehow.
So far, he has.
He's what? Well, like, he might fail. The Doctor might
So
stop
many
him.
Lords.
You know.
True.
No
And
one's
then we'll
ever
get a
going to
whole nother
say
arc.
Russell T
species
Davies doesn't like the Time Lords ever again. I'll tell you another fan consensus, right? People just want to get back to a world where Gallifrey, the Time Lords, somehow exist and are just in a stable state. Man, that 10-year arc really was something that just... We'll get to Chibnall. We'll get to Chibnall. We haven't bashed Moffat at all recently. You got any bad things you want to say about Moffat? Then we can complete the trifecta.
Moffat?
Yeah. More like
Sounds like Muffin.
Muppet. There you go.
I almost went for Muppet.
There you go. People like the Muffets, but... I guess, yeah, as much as I've gone through all that, I don't know if there's really anything to say about Omega. I went like, oh, Omega. I do think Susan is season 3. I'll say that. Yeah. I think I was right. No way are we cramming Susan into this episode. Like, the only way you'd have Susan in, like, presumably 5 minutes of next episode is if she's basically bedridden, which she's not. Like, you could have Susan do an episode. So I really hope we get that. I don't know. They'd probably start filming soon. We should get the Disney announcement on if they're doing Doctor Who or not. Hopefully soon. But BBC will decide if Disney doesn't before then. So, but yeah, what do you think? Susan, next episode? Other than, like, outside of those Flash things.
Yeah, no. I've lost all hope for anything.
So I wonder then, do you think I'm right that we'll regenerate Caroline Ford before even getting her onto the screen? We could place our bets afterwards. We're gonna do how many regenerations? 0 is an option. We're gonna do Belinda ? And we're gonna do some Susan. We'll place our betting pools.
We're stacked, yeah.
Feel free to put your donations in the chat for the bets. I'm offering 0 to 1 odds or 1 to 0, whichever way means I don't have to give the money back. That's what we're offering. And so it's a good investment for me. Disney, come back. I want to talk about the Ronnies, I guess. Yes, that wasn't going to be plural.
Yeah.
Oh, part on my mind, actually.
Go on.
These guys look real familiar. And I don't know if it's like... I don't think they were in Doctor Who. Maybe they were. But I wonder if you agree. It might be Stellaris. Is it MSI?
Don't think they look familiar, but they look really cool, and I like them.
Stellaris MSI. Hang on a sec. I think I clocked it. I think it's MSI from Stellaris.
Maybe.
That might be it.
I can kind of see what you're getting from that.
I've definitely seen the finger things.
I can't say I've seen the finger things.
They might be. They might be from originals. Okay, but the Ronnie, you were going to say something.
Yeah, part of what just flips my lid on this is, first of all, the two Ronnies is unnecessary. I think I wish they never
we've been over this. Yeah,
generated, but it's the way they showcase that is that when Miss Flood has
we'll
her
call her
moment.
Miss Flood and the Ronnie just for simplicity.
Okay,
yeah.
Like, especially when arresting Belinda, it's like she's really good at being a sinister Ronnie, and it's upsetting that they didn't give her that spotlight.
All right,
because I think she flourished in a few of those freaky moments.
I'd like to talk about that scene specifically since you brought it up, because I've also paused it. The Ronnie is new for you, and of course, we're both coming from an interesting perspective because you don't know the Ronnie, and I don't like the Ronnie prior to this episode. We'll get into beyond, but I've never been Big Finish Ronnie, classic Ronnie. Give me the Master any day. Just, I don't know why. I've not clicked. I kind of went over it. I think Miss Flood definitely has a few moments. There's the bit early on where she's talking to Conrad. And it's like, would I lie to you? Oh, yes, I would.
Yeah.
And I went, finally, 2 seasons. There's the moment where you're the Ronnie.
Yeah.
I feel like she's still, for some reason, putting up the facade of harmless old woman. Are you getting that? Because you seem to directly disagree with me. And that police scene, she's not harmless old woman. I'll give you that. But everywhere else, I'm gonna get into it more. I'll say it. I think the Ronnie here is doing a great job. But I think a lot of all that is being counteracted by the fact that this is also the Ronnie, and they are essentially the same person. No time has really passed. I imagine it's been like even if it's been like a month, that they've both existed as separate individuals. The Ronnie they're trying to build up is this great character. Well, putting her next to this passive, submissive nothing that is also the Ronnie. And it's to the point where people aren't even calling her the Ronnie. Part for clarity. Miss Flood and the Ronnie just makes more sense. But she doesn't even get to be called the Ronnie. I'd love maybe if Big Finish gives her something, like proper Ronnie. That could be interesting. Because there, I'm finally like, you could do it. I see
Miss
it.
Flood's my Ronnie.
Heck, there you go. Last season. And that's good. I think it's wasted potential. Last season, she had some more sinister bits, right? But I think the thing is, she dropped her voice when she's like, yes, I would. Everything else, she's been like up here. She's like, oh, dearie, like putting on a grandma voice.
Yeah.
That isn't her normal voice, is what I'm get. I mean, it's the actress's voice, obviously.
Yeah.
But I get the sense the Ronnie talks more like, yes, I would lie, And she's not putting it on for anyone anymore. But I want to highlight that scene about an officer specifically. She's like, oh, I love arresting people as the secret police, right?
Yeah.
Classic people, feel free to, correct me on this, because you seem to understand the character better than I do. But that's not the Ronnie. The Ronnie... God, the Ronnie has a line. By the way, love that outfit. Has a line, both of them, but has a line where it's like, all the other enemies you faced wanted death. I wanted life. And I think I've said before, the Ronnie is the scientist who, with no morals, all pompous Time Lord stuff, all other beings are beneath me. They're less than lab rats. I can do what you want. When she took the baby in the beginning, it wasn't malice. She just literally does not care. It's like they're not even worth thinking about because the science of the baby. I mean, I'm accepting that, she's in for the motive of getting the Time Lords back, which isn't science, but understandable. But with Miss Flood, I'm like, that's not... I expected to see Ronnie fans complain about it. Because I don't think the Ronnies ever really had even a vindictive side. Maybe I could be misremembering. It's been a while since I've seen Ronnie stuff. But I feel she's the character because so many people are like, I'm here to get vengeance on you, Doctor. She's like, why flipping bother, Doctor. I've got my lab rats, and I just want to know what this medicine does. I don't know. Like, she'll get power, but only in that it's necessary to fulfill her scientific goals. And so a Ronnie who likes going with the secret police and arresting people is just frivolous. It's pointless. I think, as presented, Miss Flood is a very bad Ronnie, specifically.
Yeah.
A Ronnie. Which, fair, you agree? Yeah, if you disagree. I mean, she's your Ronnie. Good on you.
Well, I mean, it's like...
Yeah.
She's not my Ronnie, but I want her to be my Ronnie.
Yeah, I think I've seen enough where I'm like, you could do good. I don't know if I would like her as a Ronnie still. Because, I've never liked the character until the one on screen. But it's weird because she is just, it was Kate O'Mara. I'm like, I see that you were literally just Kate O'Mara. Apparently, Anthony Ainley isn't allowed to just do Roger Delgado. That's bad. But this woman can do. So that's my complaining at the fan base. I like Ainley. Shut up. No, I don't know why, but it's working. And I'm really getting Ronnie. And I'm into it. I'm really liking. You know what? I wonder. Oh yeah, we stopped talking about Omega ages ago. I wonder if it's because we haven't. Controversial. I don't think we've had a great master for a good while, and so maybe I'm just like, finally a good one, because the Ronnie. I think this Ronnie is a lot like what I would want from a master. Personality-wise. This, like, she's still enjoying what she's doing, which isn't as important for the Ronnie, but, I mean, you've seen a little bit of John Sim, right? This isn't John Sim. She's calmer, and I think I'm finally, like, not a villain who's not just insane. I know a lot of people liked Sacha Dhawan. I've been waiting as part of my watch with you, Kaden, to be like, is he actually good? And I just didn't see it because I don't like that era. Or are you guys crazy? Or like with Big Finish or something to see him. But right now, nah, not for me. Meh. I'm really, she's finally done it. I think like 3, 4, if you count Miss Flood Ronnies. One of them's finally managed to get me into the character. I'd be down for like audios. And I do really love her performance. I will say, I don't think she's doing a lot of Ronnie-esque things. I think a big part of that is that we're not actually at the finale, Yeah. I think a part of that is that she's utilizing the gods, which are kind of not science, at some base level. But within the world of Doctor Who, I'm like, Doctor stirred up the gods, released it. I'm really liking we're getting proper explanations from that flip and salt thing that was not actually... I'm not going to complain about the fandom. The Doctor Who fandom has a tendency to, like, find a possible explanation for something and then hold it up as, like, an obviously explicitly stated canonical explanation. It's like, no, that's not... The salt... Like, maybe, but it's not... Stop treating it like it was the Doctor got up before the pre-credit sequence and just explicitly told the audience what was happening. And the fandom has a tendency, and that annoys me. What was the original point? The Doctor served the gods, which are just accepted thing,
Yeah.
Not in love with the, like, oh, this is older than witchcraft, which validates witchcraft, but... Heck, that's got a long tradition in Doctor Who as well. And, again, she's working, like, her home planet was literally destroyed for the second time. Like, yes, fair. She's transitioned a bit. If the Bone Palace is her biology thing, if that's where we're getting it in, I'm down. I'd maybe like it a bit more. I'd like a bit more biology. But honestly, again, as someone who wasn't a big fan of the Ronnie to begin with, she's just kind of generic science-y. The Doctor's generic science smart. Why not? I think I had another point about this Ronnie, but I'm forgetting it. I do love the updated look to, like, we saw a bit of the red suit Kate O'Mara.
Yeah, I like the red.
I'm also wondering if we got a picture from Dimensions in Time, which also has the Ronnie, because we saw 3 pictures of the Ronnie, but she's only in 2 stories, as I recall. But no, I'm really enjoying this woman as the Ronnie, and I don't know her name. One day I'll pick them all up, but I'm gonna lag behind a while on
sadly
on names.
Not my Ronnie. I'm jealous.
No,
I'm happy you have it.
Is it just like disappointment with Miss Flood, or
I think Miss Flood could do everything this Ronnie is doing.
What I'd like to draw a comparison.
It'd be fine. It'd be good.
Again, it really sucks we didn't finish season 3 because it just come up so gosh darn much. We missed like 2 weeks in order to not finish it. But someone pointed out that Derek Jacobi was basically the same thing as Miss Flood. Where, you know, we were going to get the master, and Sim's like the main master. But we got someone else, and they regenerated. And the complaint was, the post was pointing this out as a criticism of how the Ronnie was handled. Where the difference is, of course, Jacobi was in like 30 minutes. And in that time, now, of course, we know he'd make a great master. If you know Jacobi, you probably could have sat down and gone, he would be good. Or get that real glimpse and be like, that would be good. And, of course, John Sim was also beloved. I think he's still very much liked. But we've had 2 seasons of Miss Flood. Is a mysterious woman doing stuff. And then we just kind of discarded her while also keeping her around at the same time. Yeah. And if season 3 was Derek Jacobi, and season 2 was Derek Jacobi mysteriously appearing, if he was in 2 episodes, and it would have kind of ruined Sim, and it would have ruined the master a bit, I feel, because we were building up Derek Jacobi, or we would have even seen him more doing menacing things, and we get exactly what you're feeling now, where I'd be so curious if we ever do go to classics, or if you do, how you feel about that Ronnie for back then.
Yeah, I think had they
it's this
yeah,
like she's doing Kate O'Mara basically. Yeah.
Yeah, it's the 2 Ronnies. Yeah, had they just committed to the regeneration, I would have been upset, but I would have been like, yeah, okay. Or had they just kept Miss Flood, my beloved, my beflooded, you could say.
No say
I'd have been happy with it.
Okay. I wonder if you got this sense. Obviously, a lot of this episode is kind of built on knowing about the Ronnie, right? Does it feel like this episode was very well built to just have the reveal here when she says, I am the Ronnie? Like, you'd probably move some of those flashbacks, but I feel like it's built so well that this is where we, the audience, learn, and it just would have worked better. I almost wonder if, here's something to think about. I wonder if the bi-generation was a late addition. That this season was written for one Ronnie. The reveal would have been this episode, and then at some point we decided bi-generation instead. And then we had to move the reveal. It's not perfect. Like, I don't know why the Ronnie would regenerate, but it just feels so good to have it here. It was almost felt like a reveal anyway, just because of how well it was built up. Just like with the Master, the classic people could have gotten there. I mean, heck, it's the joke that every woman is the Ronnie, you know? Like, even when it was leaked, people were like, but guys, really though? Like, it's literally the Ronnie. Come on. I don't think I can get across just how, like, guys, it's the meme.
It is, yes. Was. Set up for this moment.
Yeah.
This moment within this scene, I also kind of like, but I don't like the scene.
What about it? Just the exposition part, or?
Well, so it feels like Doofenshmirtz. It's like, yeah, Perry the Platypus, look at my big machine, and this is how it's gonna destroy the world, and I bet you can't stop me. And it's just exposition in that
I
way.
liked that the exposition was plot relevant. That always makes it kind of work better. Generically, let's ignore how the exposition was executed. I really liked that, especially because the Ronnie is not the kind of person who would explain their plan to the doctor. That's very much a master thing. So, I thought it was kind of clever to have a plan that literally relies on telling the doctor your plan and the shattering. I was fond of all that. Really, if you remove the line where she says the word exposition, I'd probably have no notes. But there's some things you should just never say in writing. Unless maybe you're writing a story about writers. Yeah. Exposition, inner conflict, plot, like a TV show / movie / book / fiction, etc., etc.
Yeah.
You know? And also in a sci-fi, never write a character who hates sci-fi. Or even never say sci-fi. Never say the genre you're in. Could you imagine like a dwarf who likes fantasy novels? No, you can't. It just isn't. I kind of want that. I want to know what fantasy looks like to fantasy. I don't want it to be our world. I want
just
it
preaching
to be
against this. Stay strong.
fantastical.
Stay strong.
But like a comedy, maybe? I don't know. Like you wouldn't make Gimli from Lord of the Rings a fantasy nerd. You know, it comes across. And it takes me out of it every time. People think it's funny. It's not
think
funny
the beginning,
that Picard doesn't like sci-fi.
The start of the scene is sort of fine. It's the more it continues, the more it... Like at the start where it's like, do you remember? And then there's the whole, I'm the Ronnie. It's like, yeah, that's okay.
How long is it?
And it's like,
It's a
come
good
look at Conrad,
while.
come look at the Vindicator, and come look at how everything's falling apart. And
I guess it's
tell Belinda
arguably
that I'm a Time Lord.
6 minutes of exposition. I'd call it about here. Heck, you could go further, though. You could literally probably say it's exposition. That's a bit unfair, but it's like 6 or 7 minutes of exposition. That's a good chunk of the episode. That's more than 10%.
Yeah.
What is that actually? I'm gonna calculate that. 6 minutes out of 41 is on 14.6% of the episode. I mean, I didn't notice it, but fair. I like how it was worked in the plot, though. I don't know if I have got
Also, what happened to Belinda?
plots. They took her away at some point. She's like, get rid of the wife.
Well, no. But yeah, and then they push her through the field, and then she disappears.
Well, the world's ending out there, you know? That's a death sentence, sure. I wonder how the Doctor's going to get out of this one after the TARDIS exploded last episode, though.
No, they're just going to take everything that happened in this episode, and the next episode's going to have nothing to do with it. You're not going to mention it. It's just going to go on. It's going to be a different story.
What if we do it again? What if the Doctor wakes up mysteriously in the antimatter universe? I bet we do it again. Like, of course, we are again going to cut to after it's already been resolved. Or, okay, there's two options. He wakes up in the antimatter universe or some between land. Maybe Susan's there. Maybe Susan has the TARDIS. I don't know. Or he uses the Sonic to Superman fly. You know, it's gonna be something absurd. It's one of the two, and there's no middle ground. That's how it opens. Or it's some pre-credits separate thing. How did Empire of Death open? It was just like some spoon merchant. They did that too. They just cut.
Oh,
remember?
yeah.
It was the spoon scene. They just cut into the middle of the action. We're definitely going to do that. We're absolutely cutting to the middle of the action.
Yeah.
Oh, I'm worried though, right? I'm worried that because he does the thing about I've got a daughter. Do you know what that means? And I think much like the Susan tease last season, this is just Russell T Davies trying to, in his own words, generate content. Have I told you about that yet?
You might have.
Have I told you about how Susan Twist was made to generate internet content? Because that's what makes a show good nowadays.
Oh, God.
It sounds like I'm being harsh, but this is a Russell T Davies interview. He says that. He uses the word internet content to generate it. We're a part of his grand plan, Caden. But the thing is, this comes into it. You're complicit. Yeah.
You can't say that.
This is the thing, though, is that every time he's tried to do this, including what I'm about to say, the reaction, like, universally has been, I hope not. It's not even generating content. It's like, I really hope not. And I think we should, just as a people, have more faith in Russell T Davies as a fan of Doctor Who, right? I think he knows when there's just a crazy line. God, I might eat my words. But, you know, like, he literally wrote by generation, didn't he?
Yep.
Okay, but what I'm talking about, I'm afraid that Captain Poppy is Susan's mom, right? Let's get the oh no first. Oh, okay, that's you haven't seen Susan.
That was a
yeah. So, remember, season 1 and season 2 are filmed back to back. In season 1, which I brought up, remember we said we were setting up for a Susan return, has that bizarre line that also contradicts the past. And well, I'm gonna save it because it might actually happen, and I'll have to explain all the reasons it doesn't make sense again. That the Doctor hasn't had kids yet, or he implies that he hasn't. Because he's a Time Lord, which means Susan is his granddaughter who traveled back in time to the first Doctor and fled with him, which so many problems. But they might make it the reason he left Gallifrey, but I'm not going to get into it. We've already went down the Omega rabbit hole. So I feel like now that we know Susan's coming back, that's gonna come up. You know, that's my big worry is no. Everyone's like, just no. But, I mean, to be fair, there are some weirdos who really want the Doctor Who to end by, like, the Doctor regenerating into, basically, his life is a closed loop. It's a closed loop. He regenerates into the first Doctor, brushing over Chibnall rabbit holes. But, like, yeah, if the Doctor's got a real daughter, then yeah, that's Susan's mother. Because again, we know literally nothing except about the Doctor's kids, other than that they exist, and also somehow not yet. That the Doctor has both been a father before, but also not yet. It's now a contradiction. Those are the only things we know about his kids. And it was David Tennant. It was the Doctor's daughter where he first explicitly mentioned, I've been a father before. Before then, we could only imply the existence of offspring from Susan. Yeah. That's how untouched they are. But like it's Captain Poppy. It's still called Poppy. So I think it's some weird misdirection because we haven't called out the fact it's literally Captain Poppy with the same name. And that's kind of my hope, is that it wouldn't be a space baby. It's probably some reality-breaking thing or whatever. They're probably not Ronnie experiments. I don't even know what it could mean. It could mean literally anything. The space baby's here. What does that mean?
It means someone's going to do the can-can.
I thought Ronnie could mean anything. Yeah, I know. I told Alex around, like, 30 minutes in. I'm like, we still got room for a 90, though. Like, every time they mention babies, I'm like, space babies. They're going to come back. But they are. The space babies are genuinely critical to, like, this plot.
I think it's really funny that our two, like, lowest plots are really relevant in this episode of space babies and Rogue.
Did I call you Alex? Did I say? That's fine. There's a world where Susan is the daughter of a space baby, and then Doctor Who ends. Then Doctor Who ends.
Could you imagine this expansive universe? There is, I suppose.
I don't even get that's the new half human. That everyone will forget about the timeless children. It's like, remember how Susan was a daughter of the space? Okay. We've talked about this last time. This is what was behind the spoiler curtain last episode. When the thumbnail goes away, then it's free. Remember how they had to do apparently significant reshoots to the finale?
Yep.
What if Susan was a child of the Space Babies? But Space Babies was so persistently hated for so long, they reshot it. What if the reshoot has to do with the hatred to Space Babies?
It comes back to us being a part of Davy's big plan.
Well, we liked it.
Meddled his plan.
we
gave it
were,
a 5.
Yeah.
We
were fine. We're on his
Really?
payroll. It's time to come clean. I have been receiving money from Russell T Davies. Russell T Davies is David C. Spoilers.
It all makes sense.
All makes sense. Yes. What if? All right, I'm putting the spoiler window down, but that would be funny. I hope we learn. We've got to learn one day what that was about. But
Yeah.
We'll see. I might even watch the commentary for Okay, when we're done with our watch along, you know what we should do? We should do watch alongs of the episode commentary for the 15th Doctor ones we've seen already. And just be like, Russell, what?
What are you talking about?
Russell, no. Because at that point, he'll probably be gone. It's like,
would
Russell. God, brilliant. Okay. I think it's time for a scene by scene. I don't know how much more I've really got. I'd say
Our formats are really changing.
if I want to be nitpicky, this felt a little callous just for the sake of it for the Ronnie. You could argue she had to leave there, do something about the family. Like obviously she wouldn't care about killing them, but she also wouldn't have any desire to. Maybe you could say, like, she's testing a new toy. I would accept that. Maybe you could say she's actually just literally experimenting with the baby right now. But it felt a little callous for Arani. But that's a nitpick realm, you know, that I'm not even sure how confident I am on. Not too much. We've talked about a lot of this. What?
Great sets, as per.
Oh yeah, great sets, great design. Again, there's a word for it, but I love the color coordination in like all these seasons. It can be quite artificial. It's of course intentionally artificial now, but when done right, that Davies has done a lot, or his team, whatever. I think it's really is. I'm liking it, and I like that. I'm gonna sit down with this one day, you know, as an old man with all of the grandkids in the town. They're going to come around and we're going to laugh at how 2020s this was, you know. Doctor Who should be of the time that it was made. Oh my God. Oh my God. I like even a lot of the little details. Like, I don't know if I consciously clocked that everyone's in like the same very formal suit, which, come to think of it, might just be what London is like. I live in Spokane, so like,
no, I was
very casual.
I just recently had a conversation with my partner about this, that we should bring back everyone wearing suits all the time.
God,
I think it's the best.
God,
I think
no.
it's the best.
God, no. I think you should look at that camp with like the drag queen in it and ask them what they think about being forced to wear boiler suits because of their...
You know, it doesn't need to be forced. It can just be cool again. Everyone wearing suits. Look at how dapper they are. Their little bowler hats.
You can just wear a suit. Just be yourself, you know? Wear a suit. I wear like an Ivy Warrior cardigan to work. Just wear a suit, man. Is this a picture of Poppy, by the way? Because I feel like it's a picture of Poppy.
I think so, yeah.
Is Poppy a god? Could you imagine if Poppy turns out to be a god?
I don't want to.
Like fertility goddess. That's a bit weird, actually. I don't know if the baby should be the fertility goddess. I don't know. I don't think there's any other female Time Lords that we could really call out on. But also they're Time Lords. It could be Rassilon. Could you imagine? Rassilon's a space baby. I love as well that it's still like the hyper secure military building. Like they go to the bomb door for the helipad, even though it's just insurance. Like this was really well done, and I love the unit. I like the aesthetic too of that old timey. Hey, I didn't even clock. They're still using typewriters and like paper filing. Oh wait, that's just. Now I'm against Conrad fully. That's just,
No, it's good.
Why not like a 60s computer? It's just harder on everyone, you know?
Typewriters are fun.
Yeah, but would you actually want to like, look at all this stack of papers.
Type
Control
on a
F is like the greatest invention that humanity's ever done.
Look at their desks. Why are the drawers on the front?
He's doubting.
Yeah.
He's doubting.
Asking the real hard-hitting
Hello,
question.
Russell. He's doubting. There you go. There you go. There's my hotkeys. Oh, I forgot to mention. I think it's the bit with Shelly and Ruby. I swear the story Conrad tells in the background there is the scene where the Master takes the TARDIS from the Doctor at the end of Utopia. Because it's not anything with the Ronnie in this. It's about like the Ronnie telling the Doctor who she is. But the dialogue, I swear, is the one between the Master and the Doctor. Because he's like, and they've asked to say my name. And the Doctor like said their name. He's like, stop, you don't understand. We're the only ones left. They're all dead. I'm like, this is Utopia. I know no one else would catch it. Well, by which I guess I mean you. But yeah, as a filthy, disgusting casual, you should have seen how he performed on the Guess the Episode this morning. It was.
Bad. Do I get a point for I now have my specific Doctor Who episode to be enraged at anytime I think about it?
Oh yeah. You're not like a disgusting casual, but you're definitely lower. You are on a precipice here, Caden. You're being monitored. I hope you're aware. It's very serious. The like status of not being a filthy or disgusting or casual.
I'll continue to grow.
But you've had your moments, definitely. The committee, you're one of those. It's like being up for promotion, you know. Like you're being monitored, but not in a bad way.
There. Whew.
Have we met Belinda's mom? Because it's very suddenly, she just actually looked really familiar. Is she the mom?
I don't know.
The thing is, right, if it's not, people are going to call me a racist. But it's not that I'm racist, it's that I'm face blind. Is she the mom from Sarah Jane Adventures? Who I have also not seen in years.
See, but Stream also didn't get to see this morning when we thought this one building looked like this other building.
Oh, the building from the pilot where the puddle is. You also thought looks like I thought was the Liverpool Museum from the Halloween Apocalypse. But to be fair, they do look pretty familiar.
Yeah, and then of
the
course
museum from the Halloween Apocalypse. Oh, that is not.
Yeah, it's not the same person.
It's not. Okay, thank you. It's been a while though. Maybe they just aged, but yeah, I don't think so. I was like, no, but I'm like, oh, it's probably been 20 years, maybe. I also, in retrospect, I'm like, this bit was kind of weird, where she just ran and screamed in the woods. Kind of nitpicky, but
I mean, maybe.
Where even are the woods?
Good question. They're cool woods.
It's London though.
Cool wood. Yeah, but they also have dinosaurs in the sky.
Did she run out of?
Don't doubt it. Don't doubt where the woods are.
No, but also Susan Twist is here.
Why not? You know.
Yeah, maybe we shouldn't film the seasons back to back. You know. I don't know. It's a good Bone Palace. The Bone Palace shouldn't feel like it should be the TARDIS. But like, how much better would this be?
You're not the only. I saw.
Even with the bones. Okay, put a console right there. I don't even know if it has to go to the ceiling. Maybe it can, but it's a little console right there. That's the TARDIS. This is like the presidential TARDIS.
No, you're the second person I have heard with this opinion.
I live there. Like, that's a great Bone Palace. It's like, if I showed it to you, I was like, this is the new TARDIS, you'd be down to it. And after like 2 minutes, you'd kind of notice the bone joints. You'd be like, is that a bone TARDIS?
Bones?
Is the floor bone marrow? I don't know. But like, you know, just make it a little. Oh, you know what it reminds me of? La Sagrada Familia. I'm gonna get this up. It's a cathedral in Barcelona that they've been building for like 100 years. La Sagrada Familia interior. It's Gaudi. I'd seriously recommend, if you ever go to Barcelona, go inside this cathedral. It is worth it. That was made, I think it's Gaudi. I might be confusing my architects. I'm pretty sure it's Gaudi. But the pictures do not do it justice. It is it's unlike anything I've ever seen. Where it basically just does not have right angles. It's designed to be entirely natural. It's got this brilliant rainbow lighting from the windows and stuff. And like not less Bone Palace, more La Sagrada Familia, and there's your TARDIS, right? I think all these pillars are unique too, because they're like trees. If you ever get the chance to go, don't just look at the outside. Go into La Sagrada Familia, because it is absolutely worth it. Maybe look up the good times for the windows, but amazing.
Yeah, I'd take a TARDIS like that.
Oh, yeah. That La Sagrada Familia is too cathedral, but, you know, less not bone, more that. They're supposed to be grown anyway. I'd give this. I'd say, right, I'm in charge of Doctor Who now. It's going to be written like Chibnall, but that TARDIS is going to be, I'm going to give the designer the Bone Room, the Bone Palace, and La Sagrada Familia. I'm going to say, that's your TARDIS.
Go to town.
Go to town. It's like the 8th Doctor TARDIS I want. You'd have all the rooms, and it feels so grown. It's gotta be that she's a biologist and she grew this. Even the somehow retrofuturism of the Bone Palace. Like, look at that desk. Look at just that cable plug-in in the Bone Palace. Why not? That's a little out there. Look, no roundels, but you get like the bone holes. I don't like the kitchen's a hallway. And I don't like this square. This is beautiful. This is the TARDIS I want. I love these tables. Yeah. I didn't know that like bone core was my was my architecture.
You are a certified member of the Boner Club.
Yeah, well done. I'm also, remember, part of the Virgin Club because of those books that I like, the Virgin New Adventures. Yeah,
you get two
not
patches.
Not a lot of overlap between them. When did you get It Was a God? Because I got it at the word giggle. Did they say giggle or chuckle or something? Yeah. I wonder if they redid the mouth because of Space Babies too.
It looks good.
Giggle. Oh, I just missed it.
The mouth for the giggle. It looked good.
Just a baby. Yeah, he wasn't smiling. Okay, actually, can we talk about the child actors, who probably wasn't their fault? It was the editors. In what world was that your best take of "Run, kids, get out of here"?
Oh, I don't see it.
Did you not notice how pathetic? You watched this episode twice.
Just like walk away.
Not even that. Like 3 of them slow. Okay, watch this scene. Right.
Yeah.
But 2 of them didn't even move. In what world is that the best? Your mother just turned into lilacs or violets or something. How was that the best take? They were so bored.
I have been personally hung up on this scene about the father, so I guess I let the children slide.
As the editor, I wouldn't have even used the take with the kids. I would have had it be off screen. That was how bad that was. I would have just cut to the ducks. Okay, but go on to the father.
Well, just the father. I don't know. Like, I feel like I would have took a swing if I was him, maybe.
I don't think there's a protocol for, like, any of this, really.
It's true. That is true.
He got the kids out. Well, he tried to get the kids out. Not that they were interested.
They didn't try very hard.
It was such a bad. I get it. They're children. Like, those two on the end, like 2 and 3, but didn't even try. How was that the best one?
Yeah.
First one offset gets the biggest slice of cake. Like, come on. There has to be something in the commentary. But then the baby, they're like, they're doing the same, smiling. Because dramatic music, he's not smiling. Like, come on,
But then he giggled at least.
Is that Doctor Who the series back there? Because it's like
Good
Doctor
question.
Who in that 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Oh, the 7th book hasn't come out yet. All right. They don't know that.
Not even in the perfect world.
No. I was going to say they don't know that the Doctor's J.K. Rowling's views, but no. Hello, Tobiad. Good name. I don't know why I said it like that. Yeah. They're not going to be explained. Like,
Nope.
There's not. I mean, this was well done. Again, this was the best part of the episode for me, easy. I just love the concept. I think it was clever and obvious at the same time, which is how, like, it should be.
Yeah.
And, yeah, hey, there's old Ruby. Whole thing, yeah. And sure, I will accept 73. I wonder... Okay, could you make the same argument that companions who have been to the future would know it's wrong? Like, Mel lived in the future. How did she get back?
I mean,
Russell T Davies wrote The Return, so he just took, like, a Zoomer or something. I don't think it was a Zoomer. What was it called? Chat? Let me know what Mel took to get home.
The Ruby part, I don't fully get either. Because then you could say, like, why don't Belinda and even the Doctor himself feel it as strong?
Counterpoint. How drunk is Ncuti Gatwa in this frame? One eye up, one eye down. Just that's a man.
I mean, if we look at the full bottle, we could assume it started full.
Not that drunk, I guess. Yeah, you're right.
No, we can assume it started full. So
he's a lightweight. Yeah, I mean, this scene was well done. It would have been better if it was a twist. It was a good effect.
True.
But we had another Thanos snap as well. I haven't commented on that when, like, she turns into violets.
Yeah.
We had, let's do my rapid, like, fire round of Doctor Who's repeating itself. Other things I haven't mentioned already, the violets. We had, like, a frivolous dance musical scene, which is the fifth one in 3 years. Not talking like Goblin Song stuff. I'm talking like the Rasputin bit. I'm talking the, like, spice up your life and the giggle, which themselves were basically just the I can't decide scene, which was the original. So I guess that doesn't get any props off. Although, because it's going to be a while, that Rasputin scene, if you don't know, from the 13th Doctor era, that's not in the script. In the script, Sacha Dhawan was just supposed to, like, stand there and do nothing, and it was like a few seconds, but he just danced to the whole song, and they went, screw it. But I'd like to point out the fact, in the original script, he hit a button and stood there as the palace turned into a disco room, and then we cut away to the next scene. Chris Chibnall, everybody. That's the part of the hit bit I focus on. Hey, there's more Poppy. Yeah, there's...
Cool from the bottom.
I don't know. Like, did she grow it in a day? How long have they been here? I don't...
No.
He really should have just got Moffat as a consultant if he wanted to write Moffat stories. He's not his strong suit, which, like, is fine. He's not that kind of fan. Like, I mean, I'm sure he enjoyed Moffat, but he's not that. He enjoys other stuff more. But, like, don't write Moffat mysteries. We're not here to talk about Moffat. I think I'm probably out. I think I'm out of stuff. We finally saw Belinda's parents, or her mom at least.
Mom, at least, yeah.
The music came up again. I'm just baffled that was somehow not a part of Interstellar Song Contest.
Yep.
That's like not Chekhov's gun. That's Chekhov's gun room. But like Chekhov doesn't use them. He just has a gun room, you know?
He just likes guns.
It just came with the house. He doesn't even like
Yeah.
guns. It just, you know, he doesn't want to sell them, but like he doesn't want to use them, you know? You want to sell a gun to someone who wants a gun? No, that's like the last person I want to have a gun. I don't know
True.
what I'd do if I had a bunch of guns in a gun room. I don't know. It's a big question.
But then it's time to put a number on this episode.
Are you looking forward to next episode?
I don't know what I'm feeling.
Man, you've finally done it. Shout outs to the English-British Sign Language consultant, which I guess is different to the British Sign Language consultant. English-British... What's the difference between British and English-British? I don't...
Accents.
Welsh, I guess? Like, did the British Sign Language interpreters, were they different from the consultants? Man...
The real hitting questions.
It takes a lot of people to do sign language, apparently. I have added to the spreadsheet the average from the Reddit. I don't compile these. There's someone on r/Gallifrey who does, and has been doing it since, as far as I can tell, Rose. They've got a bunch of fun stats, standard deviation, all that. But it takes a while to go through, which is why the Interstellar Song Contest is not on there. I've backfilled it for season 1, which is actually also interesting to see. We were like basically enjoying season 1 more, except that one. Actually, I haven't done this yet. That one. Yeah, Rogue. That's it. There were 4 times that we were lower than what Reddit thought. Because we overall just liked the episode more. We were well above Reddit in terms of the average. I mean, heck, we were above IMDb. Collectively, we like season 1 a lot more than everybody. You know, which is interesting, actually. Our max was higher. Our mins were higher, except for Rogue. That is interesting. This is just combining the finale, and we all gave it an 8. If Reddit has this ranking, I just didn't see it. I didn't exactly go digging. Although, you know what? When we do next finale, IMDb, I'm just going to put that down. I'm going to see if IMDb ranks like Doctor Who.
IMBD.
IMDb, same thing. I don't know if we'll be able to get that ranking, but I'm curious. So we'll go over this a bit. I think we did a bit last time. But again, we like Joy to the World more. But I think we are a lot more negative overall. This was interesting. Story and the Engine was higher than Lucky Day, which was not the take I got actually reading the comments. I don't know where to vote for this either, by the way. I don't vote for those. So there. We're a little more even, but there's definitely more negativity compared to the Reddit. Especially from Alex, then me, then you, which is not the order I'd expect. Although I think Alex is ranking a lot of these lower because, like, they made him feel not good. Like, you know, here's Donald Trump fan ruling the world. But it was done well, you know, and it's fair to say I just don't want to watch that. But if we're talking quality, it's not a good reviewer practice, you know. But God knows what this chart talks about. Alex gave it an 8. I'll just go off of it right there.
Got it.
They liked it. I'm running out of water. I'm out of water, actually. Caden, not a 90. In fact, we now can't get the 9 or the 10,007. Well, we could still get a 9. I'd be very surprised. This would have to be like a 12.
Well, so I will have to say I committed a cardinal sin, and I do know what IMDb has to say about this episode.
Oh, well, don't tell me that.
Because, well, I've had such a response to this episode, I had to know if I was alone or not. And so I know what IMDb says.
You know what? I'm actually just gonna go. Well, yeah. If you know, just give it to me. You
can be the one to guess. You can be the one to guess. I know
yeah,
what my.
What's your score?
My rating? I think I'm gonna give this a 3 out of 10.
The lowest we have had so far. Finally, my rogue.
Yeah.
I don't know if you'll get a lot of backlash for that one. So on the Reddit, I didn't check Gallifrey, but Doctor Who, generally no one seemed to be discussing quality at all. I think we could pop over there. Let's get IMDb. And then I think it might be interesting to pop over to the thing. Doctor Who, what's this called?
Do you want to guess? Because I know what it is. You can be the one to guess.
You actually want to get Wishworld up because I often catch a glimpse of it. I gotta check because they were high. 8.7 for Ruby Sunday, and 7.1 for Empire of Death. IMDb actually also liked it a lot more than Reddit last season, but they were below the three of us still. So IMDb's positive. I imagine this might rank somewhere in the 6 for the fans, but I think the fans, the casual IMDb is going to generally be positive. I don't think they'll be thrilled. IMDb rarely goes into 8, so I think it starts with a 7. That's my final guess. Starts with 7.
Correct.
Song contest. I mean, Dug-a-Doo was really good. It did get some points for that. Story in the Engine. A lot of people thought was hollow. I bet they'd think this was less hollow. Is it more or less than 5? This is fun. I like it. It's entirely on me.
It is more than 0.5.
Oh, well, that was part of my guess. Lucky Day was 7.8. I'm going to say 7.8. They liked it as much as Lucky Day. Your final
offer?
Yep, final answer.
It is not 7.8. It is a 7.6 out of 10.
7.6. Bit worse than Interstellar. Is that mid? Hang on, lower. No, that's the fourth worst score. Third if you don't count Joy to the World. That's like mid, which, yeah, mid.
Of which I will say, all of the reviews
a lot worse than Legend of Ruby Sunday.
All the actual reviews are 9 out of 10s, except for one 8 out of 10 and one 1 out of 10.
Check if the 1 out of 10 is racist, and if it's not, read it to me.
It's not.
Actually, yeah, here's the distribution.
A lot of 8s. Is dreadful.
I see. Yeah. As above, at one time, I assume Moffat would kill Doctor Who, but RTD has truly earned his title. Are you sure it's not racist?
Yes, I think. Yeah, no, it's not racist.
I can't tell. It might be a racist, but it's not coming up. I don't know. Not everyone who gives it Doctor Who 1 out of 10 is a racist, but 1 out of 10 is very extreme. You know, there are a scant few episodes that would get a 1. Like, even in Chibnall, I feel there are scant few ones in Doctor Who. I almost wonder if we should do this for, like, everything, but it takes so long. Because it is fun that Reddit has all these old scores. Like, because that's at the time, you can see. By the way, I think the Reddit average for, like, all of Doctor Who is, like, just below an 8, if I remember. And I'm like, yeah, that tracks. Doctor Who is just below decent on average. Sure. This is season 1. Right. It's low. You know, I might like that 504. Row is lowest I've gone. Space Babies was a 5. Space Babies was the mid. We decided. Mm-hmm. If you're better than Space Babies, you're good. And again, if Space Babies was like anything other than the second episode, I probably would have ranked it differently. But I've done 6s. I've not done a 6.
No, yeah.
Anything in the 6s. I guess I don't even know what a 6 would be. You failed, but technically not. I'm a lot of 7s, me, huh? So as I said before, I kind of gotta discount this as a two-parter. You know, it's always hard to rank those because of course it is a two-parter. So again, I'm left with a rehash of a poorly received episode of Doctor Who, Lie of the Land, that is arguably worse. I mean, there's definitely things that it did better than Lie of the Land. It's been a while. I don't hate Lie of the Land. Definitely the weakest of the Monk trilogy. That being said, I can't even remember what the middle one is. Oh yeah, Pyramid at the End of the World. I don't know. A lot of people are really rough on Lie of the Land. I'm not as rough on it. I don't think it's 3. Which you're leaving a lot of room, like, down there, by the way. This is literally the worst episode of Doctor Who you've ever seen.
It's true, but it was really well polished, turd. Really well polished.
I mean,
If
I
the
don't
sets
know
weren't
if
so cool,
there's
it would have gone down.
any episode of Doctor Who that's just poorly made. Maybe Underworld, where, like, they intentionally, because of a massive recession, put all the money from one series into another. And they're like, rather than both being kind of bad, one's going to be really bad and the other's going to be good. Which, you know what? I can respect that. Worst of the season? God, it's so hard because I came in with the mentality of what it's going to be. Unlike Robot Revolution, which I had hope. Like you, I had hope. I don't know. I'm kind of somewhere around a 5. Is it better than Robot Revolution? Robot Revolution couldn't figure out what it wanted to be, but this knew. This did know.
True.
Can I even rank it so low for, like, not answering why Belinda couldn't get back to Earth? Because maybe this could, but also, is that a problem with this episode? That feels like a season problem. I just take these too seriously, Kanan.
I'm taking my 3 out of 10 very seriously.
You know what? Space Babies was the midpoint. If you're better than Space Babies, you're on the good side. And if you're worse, you're on the bad side. That might be kind of the same vibe here.
Space Babies helped me pick my 3 out of 10.
It did.
Yeah.
I don't want to say it's as good as Space Babies. I definitely enjoyed Space Babies more, but I feel bad when I go below 5. And you know what? Let me read my complaint. Get Belinda home. How'd they get the Vindicator? That one we got over.
TARDIS exploding.
Rogue. And it's indicative of, like, needing new blood. To be fair, actually, the more I look at the questions, we did answer a lot of them. I think I get some points for Bone Palace. Gosh, I don't like losing these low numbers. 11. No. It's integer underflow. Integer underflow. I'm gonna sit a 5 there. I'm just gonna let it sit, you know, because we have other things we want to talk about, and I'm gonna marinate it. Yeah, I'm gonna put it in the oven. I put a 5 in the oven, in the crock pot even, and I'm not sure what's gonna come out. Yeah. Turns out it's a chicken, which is weird because I'm vegan. But didn't I say that this was the worst one of this season? I think fair. And I've given it a 5. I hated Rogue. The thing is, I didn't hate this, and I also wasn't bored by it, though, you know? That's kind of the definition of, like, a mid.
It's one definition.
Do you know what you know now? Do you know what you know now, Caden?
I think so.
Do you know? What do you think? Next episode. Are you hopeful? Are you scared? Are you aroused? Are you ill?
I think I might be ill.
Okay. The reality war. I'll give you a scoop in a bit, but I guess that probably should have been behind spoilers. I mean, it might be like Doctor Strange-esque. I don't know. We got some of that imagery. He definitely likes his effects. Russell T Davies. I don't know. The original Omega story is kind of known for bad effects. It was the 70s. In fact, 73, if it was the 10th anniversary. Hey, our parents exist now. Hooray.
Woo-hoo.
That's right. This villain is almost as old as our parents.
Man,
Don't say that about our parents.
sorry.
Yeah. It's I'm gonna go in with the same thing. That really helped me like just glide across Wish World. I'm just gonna go in with like it's probably gonna be bad. I'm gonna just assume Davies is a good enough fan to know that Poppy being Susan's mom is a bad idea. I don't know. I don't know. Part of me feels like we shouldn't ever really know anything about the Doctor's kids. Vibe chat. What do you think? How's that take? Like,
I think it could be done correctly.
Yeah. I think you could.
But I get the fear that it would be done wrong.
Not even that. I think you could tell a good story about the Doctor's kids. Even just describing them. They don't have to be in it. But I kind of wonder, like, if we actually gain anything, I almost wonder if they're better off. We just don't know. And I kind of like that.
I mean, maybe that's the newness that the show could use. Something
what could
different.
You do with the kids that you couldn't do with Susan? Because he was seemingly Susan's caretaker, at least when they left Gallifrey. You could maybe recontextualize some First Doctor stuff, which admittedly could be cool, but that's kind of niche. Really niche, But not necessarily bad. If we're bringing Susan back, I could, like, maybe if they died tragically or something, something bad happened, that's why he's overprotective. But we're so far removed from Susan, and I feel that kind of protective for those reasons, Doctor. I don't know. I kind of don't think we should do them. I think we should acknowledge they existed. Yeah. You'd really have to do like a Gallifrey story, but I don't even know if they'd be around. Probably. I mean, like, Susan's still alive, and the Time Lords kind of live a while when they're not doing dangerous crud that gets them killed all the time. Yeah, I don't know, but the reality war. So, of course, as we've established, Doctor Who is stuck in its own past, right? And it's rehashing things. So, I don't know if you remember the hit 2005 episode, Bad Wolf. That was what it's called.
I do.
Where it was all the like reality TV shows and game shows at the time. It's been 20 years, so they're gonna do that again, but with like the new game shows, which actually could work, maybe. That's it. Screw it. I don't know. It's been 8 weeks. What do you want from me? That's it. That's the one. It's just gonna be a bunch of. It's not even in the context of Doctor Who. It's just they're playing the game shows and it ends. That's it.
Wow.
Yeah.
That sounds so... I can't wait to see it.
I don't know, man. That's it. What? That's
you
it.
poured your heart into that one.
I did. Look, they can't all be winners. I don't know. I kind of feel like the season ended here, almost,
Yeah,
but I liked the why.
Took it out of me.
There's why. I didn't hate this episode. I liked the Ronnie. The one of them. I like Susan could be interesting. I've been wanting Susan back. Omega, he's cool. We might finally get the Time Lords back. And you don't even have to do anything with them. Just go set them aside for like 10 years. I don't care. Just put them somewhere stable. In the course, I'm going to check this. Doctor Who. I'm not going to tell you the name of the episode. What the heck was it? It was this. In the course of 10 years, we have had the return of Gallifrey, the destruction of Gallifrey. Actually, guys, it goes even far. It's actually been a while, but trust me, it's been a wild ride. It's been a wild ride, and nothing happened between the return and destruction of Gallifrey. By the way, those were the only 2 episodes it was used in that meantime. I don't know, man. I feel like I should reduce some points from Wishworld, because for some reason, I don't know, I should, like, it's probably going to be overstuffed, but I think I like Davies finales more than the next person.
I mean, giving Wishworld a 5, are you saying Wishworld is the line? So any better than Wishworld, it's a good episode, and any worse, it's a bad one?
His Wishworld just kind of killed my enthusiasm. I don't know.
It killed me.
Like, I don't even think it was that bad. Like, the worst thing an episode can do is be boring. I think that's pretty... Mm-hmm. I don't know if I universally agree with that, because, like, there's things like The Timeless Child or like canon-shattering things we gotta live with. Again, The Timeless Child, the worst thing it's done has been destroy Gallifrey. Like, off-screen. That's gonna suck literally forever, because we've kind of killed Gallifrey. That's what it is. That episode, when they destroyed Gallifrey, it's like, oh, again? And we just got it back. And that was kind of the straw. It's like the 4th or 5th time Gallifrey's status has changed. And it's now like, who cares? But it's who cares in a state that you can't bring it back without feeling cheap. If next episode, Triumphant Return of the Time Lords, bring Gallifrey back. People have said, make them refugees. Gallifrey's destroyed, but not everyone was on the planet. So kind of like the Asgardians in Marvel, make them like a refugee. Time Lords without their power. That could be interesting, but like... Time Lords, man. Just put them somewhere static, and then we can get back to them when we're excited. Maybe it's because I talked about Time Lords and Chibnall. I don't know. Space Baby can't even. Like, is that going to hit a 90 for me? I don't know.
I think next episode could get a 4.
Yeah, why is mine broken? It's because the 90 breaks it. Why isn't yours broken? What?
Strong.
I'll look into this next time. Oh, duh. It's because of the 10,000. And there we go. I fixed it.
Woohoo!
5. I don't even know if it gets a number. It needs one for math reasons. I'll go 4. Let's go take the chicken out of the crock pot, and let's just tie it with Rogue, I guess. And I'm gonna complain about that number forever. 7.6, man. I don't know.
I was so mad at that last night.
Russell T Davies is just like I think Russell T Davies, and again, a lot of what I've said about him is not like meant to be an insult. It's just a lot of stuff I disagree with. But Russell T Davies is like to me the personification of the masses in the sense of consumption of media, you know? Because it's like, it's the complaint of, oh, you know, like media's been getting so much dumber since, I don't know, the 80s, pick your number. It's like now all flashy CGI, yada yada. It's like, I just want a good story. And all the circles I'm in are like, it's because he's the old long show, Star Trek, Doctor Who, you know. It's like, I just want a good story. You even hear this from Star Wars. I'm not in that community, but pick a long-running community. Give me a good story.
Yeah.
Not any of this CGI. And apply it to anything more than like 20 years old. And that's still going, and you've got it. I don't know, The Simpsons might not have that critique. But, like, the people are like, oh, but, you know, it does well. You know, that's why they do it. Mm-hmm. And there's always kind of thought of like, but who though? Because like everyone I see is always, I just want a good story. Like everyone I see is like, make the effects worse for more episodes and I'd be happier. But Russell T Davies is the one who's like, no, he actually is like two Ronnies. Like London fell through the floor. That makes the it's not that's good. It's that makes the episode good. And it was it was a nice shot. I'd even appreciated it. I'm like, oh, you know what? This is good. This is kind of elevating things. But that was my reaction. Not, oh my gosh. It's like, that's well done. You also did something similar in the Star Beast, and probably the last finale that I'm not remembering. And heck, did you do it this season before? Maybe. I don't know. It's like, it's, you can only threaten. I don't care. I talk about this so much, but season 3 of Star Trek Enterprise is phenomenal because it has the bones No, it doesn't. It has the skin of any modern mystery box. Even if you're not a Star Trek fan, I like recommend that to anyone, is like a media analysis. Because as the skin, the premise, this is literally the opening shot of the season, is some big, like, ball weapon thing comes to Earth, cuts a big line through, like, Florida to America, sorry, Caden, to, like, Texas or whatever, and then just leaves. That's the opening shot is like a terrorist attack. It's like early days, Federation's first starship. Federation doesn't exist. It's like early sci-fi kind of imagine. And then we're told from people from the future, there's this temporal Cold War, don't worry about it, that these aliens called the Xindi, they live in this weird nebula that has like weird space weather. No one understands it. It's uncharted. They are attacking Earth because someone in the future told them Earth would lead to their destruction. And that's a lie. And so we've got to stop it because obviously Earth is important. It makes the Federation. You got to save the Earth. And there's a time bomb. That was a test. And they've got their real their real planet-destroying weapon that's going to come and kill Earth, and we don't know when. And you've got to go into the nebula, figure out who the Xindi are, find them, and somehow convince them not to destroy the planet. Which I love as well. It's not a war. From the start, it's let's explain we're wrong, because Star Trek. But that's the premise, right? And that's the mystery box. What's up with the Expanse? That's what it's called. Who are the Xindi? We get clues as it goes along. It's a well-done mystery. And it is also not the point of the season at all. The season couldn't, despite being an amazing mystery, like, probably couldn't care less about the mystery. What it's about is this, like, group of the only starship humanity's capable of sending, of, like, 80 people, whose literally the fate of the planet's on stake. One of them had, like, family that died in the attack. And it's how far can you go when the entire fate of the world is at stake. And deals with a lot of questions of morality and, like, you want to be that utopia, that Star Trek, but the Death Star comes and, yeah, I don't know. It could be on its way, actually, and we really don't know where we're going. And also, this space is hostile to us, and we have no resources, and we're on our own. And that's what a mystery box should be. And that's, like, the good story. Because also, when these things come out that are good stories, they also blow up, you know?
Yeah.
Weird example, but the Lego movie. It's like fun kids movie about Legos. It's also just a great story.
Yeah.
What's the Puss in Boots one? I've never seen that. It's apparently just a great story. Bluey?
I haven't seen it either.
Bluey? It's from dogs in Australia. But, like, it's got good stories about just relatable family stuff. This is what Disney and Pixar built their business off of. And, like, it's not mutually exclusive to special effects as much as I might bemoan. But Davies is kind of the guy who's like, but yeah. Which, I mean, he's not, I can't say he's wrong. He likes it. It's like, oh, you're wrong. You don't like it. But, it can be frustrating. Like, it was in his writing before. But he still managed to have those very cohesive other stuff. You know, he had Father's Day, which was not flashy. And he makes comments like, if the Disney deal canceled tomorrow, you know, it fell through tomorrow, no more Disney, BBC's got to do it itself. We would still make Doctor Who, and we would get that challenge head on. And suddenly, every episode would be claustrophobic and set in a cave. Is like the joke of we have no money. And every fan is like, please, please give me. And, you know, I've said before, I think Russell generally balances it well. Because it's, you know, I love, early on, I was amazed. You actually can have good effects and a good story. It doesn't take you out of it, but I'm kind of like, it's a Russell T Davies finale. It's gonna be, I was gonna say Avengers Endgame, but that actually was a good story, wasn't it? Like, that was a culmination of a decade's work. So, the Emoji Movie, that might be harsh. That's probably harsh. So, who knows? I don't think it'll, like, destroy canon. I mean, I can live with by generation. Let's never do it again, please. But I can live with it
Omega bigenerates.
into no. Into Susan's mom. And I can live with it if the Doctor never does it again. My biggest fear is that Russell just does it again.
Yeah.
With the Doctor twice in a row.
Got trust issues with Russell T Davies.
But like he'd think it's cool though.
Yeah.
But last season we got caught. Generation. Everyone was like try by. Yeah, they try generate. It just escalates. Like he tried to do that Susan tease. You know, that Susan Twist is Susan. But he knew that'd be bad. Like, surely. I'm going to laugh. I don't know what I'm going to do. If let's enter the spoiler zone. Again, it's just the same stuff as last time. If you listen to the other spoilers in this and last podcast, there's nothing new. So goodbye if you don't want that shooting schedule stuff. If we learn that those, here's the big word, reshoots were someone finally said no to a bad idea of Davies, I don't even know. I don't know what I'll do. I'm like, good, I guess. But I think even back in his day, he had some weird ideas. But I can't actually bring any to mind. You know what? It's a parody, but in the Fantastic Five-ish Doctors, right? The plot, it was made by Fifth Doctor Peter Davison, along with primarily the Sixth and Seventh Doctors. In its real world, they play themselves. The plot is they're making the 50th anniversary of Doctor Who. And the old Doctors want to be in it, but no one cares because David Tennant and Matt Smith are the big deal, right? And it's kind of a fun, cheeky, self-referential, self-decrementing, deprecation, Britishy humor. Great, full of references, especially if you've seen Classic Who. I highly recommend it. It's free online. You could find it, I'm sure. Please release it in the Blu-ray in the US. Thank you, bye. Just release it, please, in the US. And so the whole point is, they're like trying to get in the 50th and no one cares. Hijinks and shoot, right? In the end, there's a joke early on where all of them are calling the BBC like, hey, I'm Peter Davison, Doctor Number 5, like just calling about the 50th. And I think there's a joke where you see that side of the conversation. Then Davison picks up the phone and he's like, hi, yes, I'm Peter Davison. I played Doctor Who. What do you mean another? Oh no, another one. It's like everyone's just big. And the ending of that is Davison gets a call and he picks it up. He's like, hi, Davison, this is Russell the T Davies. And he's like, he also wants to be in the 50th. But he goes on this like hour-long voicemail of like, and then Matt Smith regenerates, and it's me. I am the Doctor. And I'm like, stop there, Davros. And I shoot laser out of my eyes. I shoot the lasers. I'm like, stop right there. And then it's like, an intentionally crazy, insane fan fulfillment thing.
Yeah.
But that's kind of hearing those ideas in a less parody way is kind of what it's like. Because the stuff coming is out, and then the Ronnie bigenerates, and there's two of them, and then they go and wake up Omega. It's like, stop right there, Omega, and then the Bone Palace falls down. It's like, what? Bone Palace?
That's it. Yeah.
I mean, to be fair, I guess you could probably say that about a lot of episodes of Doctor Who. And then he's got the watch, and then inside him is the watch, and the watch says, don't open me. And the kid's like, what? The watch. And then he opens the watch, and then the villains, they smell it. It's like, I smell it, sister. It's like, you could probably do that about any plot, to be fair. But yeah, that's how we should do all the reviews, is like a frantic Russell T Davies hype man who's done too much cocaine. That's our new series. 10 out of 10. 10 out of 10. 10 out of 11 out of 10. There we go. Maybe if Russell T Davies did more cocaine, the averages would be
Doctor Who would be better.
Let's
give Russell T Davies drugs.
We've all fallen.
Come up with.
Reddit, actually, that was a voice crack. Reddit likes this episode more, but they're also missing 2 of the episodes. And IMDb likes it more. So actually, still, we're holding up the Reddit opinion that this season is better, which might be changing. I think, honestly, I've seen that change somewhere around here, which we're not counting. IMDb likes it better so far. I mean, I guess that's bringing it down, but still, it's better if you discount the finale. Then Alex is much worse. Caden, you're a little worse. And I'm also just a little bit worse.
But what if you get rid of the 3?
The 3?
Got it.
You're just a little bit better. But, I mean, you actually... I'm always surprised. This is why I like writing it down. Just how much we liked the finale. Even you. Like, 8.5. That's your fourth highest? It's up there. 8.5 is better than all but 2 episodes this season. You think Empire of
I'd maybe brought it to an 8.
You don't want to be lynched.
Looking back on it. Yeah, but, I'll keep it.
Yeah, I mean, I was lower, but I liked the ending is really bright. I liked what they tried to do with the Rumi mom stuff. Once they actually got to those scenes, those key scenes, they were good. Just it wasn't earned. And then Alex, of course, with their 10.
Yeah, my math average being lower than last season is, at least, especially even by this amount, is different than like my personal if I were to rate them comparatively.
I think you just had a lot of mid 8s and 7s. Or what's
I don't know.
for
I
you?
really liked the 8s and 7s, and also the peaks of Lux and the Well were great.
Good. That's a mid good. Is like an 8 and a 7. You know.
Go back to season 1.
Season 1. Because you got like 6, 5, 6. You had some lowers in season 1. You didn't like... Oh, that's Space Babies. Yeah, you were lower on Church. I remember that.
Yeah, I generally... Yeah.
It's so interesting. I should calculate the standard deviation for all of us. Like the range. Mm-hmm. That's interesting. I want to do that. I want to calculate the range between all of us, but I won't do that on stream. Because this was we all agreed about how good it is. And of course, it was an 8. Yeah. But I mean, it sounds like you might be ranking this better. Russell T. Davies hasn't yet stomped your heart in the ground.
I was.
He was. See? I don't know. I feel like I might rank this lower simply because the weaker episodes are lower. But I mean, these were 2 of the strongest. I don't know. I've been all over the shop. I don't know. I had an existential crisis about what... Was that on stream? I don't think I said this on stream, and I love the quote where, like, I'm not even sure what a Doctor Who fan is anymore. Yeah. And I wish I was rolling right after last stream. I said, in the sense that I don't think being a fan of Doctor Who is like being a fan of Star Trek, or you're like a show or a movie in general, right? I think being a fan of Doctor Who is more like being a fan of superhero movies, or like a genre, you know, where it's just so big across so much media. There's just so much and so different. Like you can't even, you know, it's like a superhero movie. Is that DC's gritty, dark Batman stuff? Is that Marvel Quip? Is that Guardians of the Galaxy? Or is that like Batman with depression? Like, yes, it is. And so it's like, I don't even know, man. What is this? What is this? And then we had an existential crisis about Doctor Who. Maybe I'll read some Paul Cornell. I haven't got through much of that book yet. I got the cat ones coming up. I'm looking forward to the one about, I think there's one in the land of fiction. And then I get to meet Bernice Summerfield. So I'll see you in by the time next season comes around, I better have met Bernice Summerfield. In the books at least. So we should probably wrap it up though. We're rambling.
We're good at that. We're pros.
I don't know. I mean, I'll say we're all solidly in the 7s in terms of averages. That's true.
Pretty close to each other.
I might end up somewhere around a 7. I might for this season. Which would be a little lower than last, but I almost wonder if I should just try and binge it. Should we get together and just watch it, all of it? What's that? That's only gonna probably be 6.5 hours. 15.
Really?
1, 2, 3, 4. Well, we won't do the last one. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Let's cut Joy out. So it's 7 hours minus 15 times 7. That didn't... 7 times 60 minus 15 times 7 divided by 60. It's like less than 5.5 hours, assuming they're 45-minute episodes. I mean, that's totally feasible, actually, to just kind of...
short season.
I might. It's a 4-day weekend. I might. Is
it a 4-day weekend?
Yeah. God, these are... Sorry, less than 5.5 hours. Okay, so actually add the last one, 6 hours. That's not a lot. It's like 2 movies, I guess. 2 long movies. What? Because I guess what's a 13 episode season? It's gonna be 13 times 60 minus 13 times 15 divided by 60. Whoops, 60. Yeah, it's almost 10 hours. So I guess we've almost cut in half, which makes sense, I think. More seasons, and I don't even think longer episodes, but let's just ditch the restriction. I think even just ditching that time restriction would help so much. Because I disagree that every episode had this problem, but it's hard to argue there's an episode that wouldn't have been better with more. I mean, I think Lucky Day could have actually benefited from being slightly shorter, because that one scene just went on too long with the fans, you know? If they had the budget, you could have more Lucky Day, and that would be cool. But, you know, realistically, Robot Revolution didn't need longer, it needed focus. The Well, that one's fine. Perfect. I think that was good, pacing-wise. That was your 10. Lucky Day?
Oh, yeah.
That one's weird. That one could have used more time because we had like 7 minutes of Conrad being evil. If that. Remember? And we probably could have actually explored things, but that one was that was hard to pace. Because I feel like it needed 1.5 episodes. So it either needed way too much filler or a very bad part 1 that was just the dating stuff. Maybe it needed a B-plot. You know what, actually? Maybe that's what was missing. It's a 2-parter, but you needed the Doctor to do stuff. You just needed a character number 2. And you could have done a 2-parter, I bet. Maybe Unit is looking into... I don't know. Because you can't draw suspicion to Conrad. I don't know. I'm not a writer. This one was good, actually. Yeah, no, a lot of the pacing was good. Song contest just needed more for... the Hellion stuff. I think we could have fleshed that out more. And even this one could have done with it more exploring of this dystopia, but isn't a total dystopia, you know? That's a good way of describing it. It is by all means a dystopia, but there's still like nuggets of actually, you know what? That is better. There's no trash. There's I mean, there's no serious, like, medical conditions, apparently, but part of that is because there's just no disabled in a bad way. But, like, there's foster children. Every nation and every race is here, seemingly equally, but we're also sexist. You know, I've said that. And by God, this finale is going to need, like, another hour. You know, let's just... Omega, 2 Ronnies, and of course, have we mentioned that, like... Miss Flood's totally gonna turn against the old Ronnie, and that's...
Probably.
Yeah. Conrad was weirdly motherly, too. I've seen some people think... childly. I think people said Conrad and Miss Flood are gonna team up against the big Ronnie, but that's, like, too... I don't know. I think Conrad is out of his depth. Conrad has that line, like, it's so hard, all the thinking... And I feel like Conrad's might just be a plot of, fixing the world is hard. With a combination of, you're an idiot. Like, you have to actually think to solve the world's problems. You can't just close your borders or whatever, you know? You like a mix of that. I think that might be his deal. But I don't know. We can't just have Miss Flood turn good. So surely the old Miss Flood's gonna die, and then we dodge the question of regeneration.
No,
Uh,
then
with
she
a
bigenerates and continues the mitosis.
But see, then you'll have to accept that the 14th Doctor is gonna keep doing this, and that's a big cap. Oh yeah, we haven't talked as well. 14. I don't know what he's doing, man. I
Yeah.
I was all on board. I was defending like this does not have to be a problem that the 14th Doctor just lives on Earth. But hey, I'm young. Maybe one day Doctor Who will go on long enough that we're like, he's probably just dead. You know? Like it will just have crossed the point. We'll genuinely be debating if the 14th Doctor has died yet. Like,
Yeah.
man, I guess if you want to get morbid, we could see how long David Tennant lasts, and then I guess that's the benchmark.
That'll be it. Yeah.
You know,
No more
when Donna
usable.
goes, he kind of doesn't have a point anymore.
Yeah.
I don't know. Like, we'll see. Ooh. Next year, David Tennant's gonna be the age William Hartnell was when he started the first episode of Doctor Who, and apparently the age when Capaldi was cast, which I think is something I knew but learned again.
Oh, weird.
There we go. I said I was gonna wrap up ages ago. We're still technically behind a window. This is gonna be an interesting one. I'm probably gonna like my forge to play around down here. And Alex, we'll just put that like 76 in ahead of time for which doesn't bring the average up. Ah, there we go. That's actually not that high for a 76. 6 point. Oh yeah, that's the wrong number. Oh no, but Joy, I'm gonna have to fix this spreadsheet. But I don't know, man. I don't know. One day we'll be back. Yes, maybe we'll be back with a series 3 of Doctor Who, which is hopefully easily available in the United States of America and other countries. I don't want this deal to fall through for the simple fact that BBC America's website is hot garbage as an American. All of the ads for the English went to us. That's how it's formatted. Imagine that. And it's unwatchable. But hey, hopefully someone picks it up. Honestly, that's all I care about. I want the whole world to see it. So I think like Max is a bad platform. Netflix is pretty good at like inheriting shows. They did Prodigy well, but I just want someone who will show it ideally everywhere. But also I'll be selfish. I want Doctor Who too, you know? Let people see it.
Take it.
And preferably with, you know, an ad to TV ratio less than 50%. You know, I'd like more TV than ad. BBC America. But I don't care about ads at the start. Oh yeah, I'll put like 5 minutes of ads at the start. I don't care. I'll just like watch don't interrupt it. That's my thing. Don't interrupt the show. Maybe
I
like
agree.
one mid-roll if it's built in, but I'd genuinely like put 10 minutes of ads at the front and okay, maybe we're starting to push it now, but I would genuinely prefer that to one ad in the middle.
Yeah.
Yeah. All right. I will say thank you all very much for watching, and I'll see you